This is how we do it. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Goglings, Gogorifics, and Gog peoples of the world unite. Welcome, everyone, to episode 359 of Pen and Pixels. I am your host, Arvin Elleron. This is the show that focuses on story and narrative every Tuesday afternoon around this time, and this is Talisman Adventures, the Lady's Tomb. It is my great pleasure to once again welcome you all for the first D&D-related session, Talisman, TTRPG-related session on GogCom's Twitch channel of 2023, as I am joined by the crew with Talisman Adventures. We are sponsored, as always, by Pegasus Spiele. Thank you to Pegasus Spiele for their sponsorship and for their support. And thank you to all of you for tuning in for a pleasant little walk into a graveyard and into a sepulcher. It'll be great. It'll be fine. I'm excited for, I'm sure nothing could go wrong. I saw the tweet today from GogCom, and under no circumstances should anyone be concerned that this will be anything other than a very snug walk through a city of the dead. I think it'll be fine. Before we go any further, just a couple of reminders about ways to support us here on the channel. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to follow us here on GogCom's Twitch channel. Please check out as well and consider subscribing to us here on GogCom's Twitch channel. That is always appreciated. You can get those custom sub badges, DRM free, of course, to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch, and it does support the streamers on this channel. And please consider, while we're on the subject of supporting streamers, clicking through on the individual streamers, because we all have our own individual channels and subsystems and Patreons and things like that. Quick note on scheduling: we'll be doing this today, Talisman Adventures. Next week we'll be back at 4:15 p.m. Eastern with D&D with GOG Ghosts of Saltmarsh. That'll be happening next week. The week after that, so 2 weeks from today, I want to make a programming note. Pen and Pixels is going to change time on that day, and in fact, probably 1 to 2 Tuesdays a month we will be changing, because I need to accommodate a new campaign which is launching on my own personal channel of Shire Adventures, sponsored by Free League. I'm very excited about this. It's using their new Lord of the Rings role-playing system. I have a group of players. We have a lot of art. In fact, at 5 p.m. Eastern, I have a tweet scheduled to go out. You can check that out if you want to see what some of that art looks like. Very excited for this on my own channel, but because of multiple time zones and all, I have to alter when I do that for them. So their sessions are going to be on Tuesdays, usually 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern, which means that I'm going to change my stream times on this channel to earlier in the day, which is actually how I originally started when I started streaming on GOG a number of years ago. So that means that on Tuesdays, I will be streaming either from 4:15 to 7 p.m. Eastern, roughly speaking, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. I'll be streaming either then, or on days when I'm doing Shire Adventures, I will be streaming from about 1 p.m. Eastern here till 4 p.m. Eastern. So still a Tuesday, still relatively European-friendly hours, but it is going to be a little bit earlier than normal, so be aware that 2 weeks from now, the launch of Shire Adventure on my channel means that I'm going to be streaming here some Chained Echoes a little bit earlier. But that will not affect tabletop play. Those tabletop sessions will continue to be at this start time, so just programming note, word to the wise. With all of that said, I am now going to unmute myself and apologize to anyone I may have interrupted in our incredible crew, and then I'm going to unmute them, and last but certainly not least, I'm going to head over to reveal to you the power of Talisman Adventures. The crew is assembled. They are ready to go. And we are here for the Lady's Tomb. And I will start, everyone looking chipper and reasonably okay. And I'm going to start with the person right below me in the column, and that is Pyron Jade. Happy New Year, Pyron. Welcome, welcome. I hope everyone is with you and family and so on are doing well. How are you? How is life? And who are you playing in our Talisman session tonight?
Happy New Year to everyone. I think it's actually on GOG. It's really the first time this year that I'm on stream now that you mention it. So yay! Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Let's have a great one. Let's have a better one. Yeah. And all of that. And everything's so good. Actually nice on my end currently in life. Really interesting. Kids are always entertaining. Stuff happening. Life is an adventure. I'm playing Regina Augusta III, who's a warrior sprite. So you can think of her like a very angry bumblebee with armor and weapons.
The memes write themselves, people. The memes write themselves.
So sometimes drinks too much, and let's just say that her mental scores are not as high as her physical scores, which sometimes makes her very perplexed about everything that's just going on. But she blames that on other people, so that's fine. And currently we are on a very, very big cemetery. I think it was called a necropolis. And all of this is very obviously somebody else's fault.
Yeah, somehow, agreement was never actually made. We'll see, somehow to this. I'm excited to see how Regina does things. And yes, the memes really do write themselves. Just do searches for angry sprites in any GIF maker and just watch as the fun rolls in. Always a pleasure to have Pyron Jade with us. And also always a pleasure. It is a lot of fun, Keltoro, absolutely. And it's also a lot of fun to have Darksaber 2K with us, who is here, who is now several weeks removed from birthday. But since it's the first time I'm saying this on stream, Happy New Year for this year anyway, Saber. Good to see you. How is life and the universe with you? How are you doing? And so on. And again, as always, thanks for Dashboard and Mubot. I know I say it all the time, but I'm just repeating it. How's life in the universe with you, and who are you playing today in Talisman?
Everything's very good at the moment. Just keep plugging away at my channel. Been playing Fallout 2 at the moment with restored content, which has been interesting.
Yeah. Has it been good? I mean, do you like the extra content, the restored content?
I've only seen a bit of it so far, but there's things like being able to new quest lines where you can actually set up an orphanage for children in one of the early towns, which is really nice.
That's cool.
The Navarro run, which is a strategy you can do to get late game equipment very early. Took 5 hours last time. The RNG was out to get me on that. It usually takes about 2 hours for context. And it was like, you quick save, take a step on the world map. Enclave squad, 1-hit kill. Repeat. It was just on and on. And well, you're trying to cheese the game. Sometimes you have to accept the punishment.
Did you succeed? Did you eventually get that? Okay, well, that's all that matters.
Did.
Listen, it was worth it.
And now I'm critically shooting people in the balls. So, as is tradition.
Yes.
But aside from that, I've been looking forward to this. It's I think the first tabletop session of the new year now, isn't it?
On this channel, for sure. Yeah.
I'm already losing track of time. And we're, 2 weeks in?
I know. The 17th already, which kind of blew my mind, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, really? So
but I will be stepping back into the robes of Reginald Shoon, who is a ghoul druid and a shepherd of the dead. And he is setting foot for the first time in the spiritual home of all ghouls in the realm, the necropolis of Sepulchre, where things are not as he had been led to expect.
Yes.
So something's not right in the lands of the dead.
Something is definitely not right. And yes, this is a very this is a sort of deep dive for those of you who are like, I need to know more of the sort of deep dive of Reginald content. You're getting that with this investigation of Sepulchre. It's going to be very cool. I'm excited to see how things proceed in this land of the dead. Always a pleasure to have Saber with us, and also a pleasure to have Peripheral Mike with us. Mike, again, Happy New Year to you for the first time on stream. Although those of you who have been following on my channel will already have seen some of Mike's amazing video work. The season 3 of Eberron premiered with the new awesome video and the reveal that we have a new character, so it's up to 5 players over there in that campaign. But Mike had done the new video, which looks amazing, and there's going to be another video for those of you who heard me talk about Shire Adventures. There may be a video associated with that that Mike might be using. It may be that we use Mike is often called upon to use his expertise for things. The video you saw at the beginning of this campaign, for example, this adventure session today is from Mike. So when Mike's not doing amazing stuff, Mike, how is life in the universe with you otherwise, and who are you playing in our campaign today?
Feed my ego more. I'm loving it. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm in an excellent place. It's been a very, very good day. An incredibly productive day, both for work, for peripheral media, for just general gaming stuff. I've recorded, spoiler alert, I've recorded 2 new videos. One's a Q&A that's going to go up on my channel that people on Discord have been talking about. And another is a playthrough of a previously unplayed horror game, which is going to be going up as well. So I'm very much looking forward to just chopping the boring bits out. So that's the beginning bit and the end bit, basically. The rest of it's just content gold. It's top shelf stuff. So you look forward to that. But yeah, I'm genuinely really good. I'm so excited to play Talisman again. I feel in a really, really good kind of mental, spiritual place, and now I'm just surrounded by beautiful people. So I feel good. I feel really good. I'm stepping into the tonight. I'm going to be stepping into the large boots of Lump, our world-walking troll, who is currently in tow of his follower Alette, who is a previous barmaid previously from the tavern, and she wants to see the world, and we're taking her to the most fantastic places like the realm of the dead, and she's seeing fantastic sights like ghouls and very angry dead things that want to kill us and turn us inside out. So I'm not quite sure how much this. I imagine for us this is like Talisman. For her, this is like Darkest Dungeon. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, I'm in a real good place. So I'm trying to spread some love and just say that you all look fantastic today. You, and especially you, chat, all look amazing.
Good stuff. And Chad, I hope you will keep that in mind and remember that as you subscribe freely and often to all of the various things that we do and contribute, lots of resources. After having been buttered, given the absolute positive feedback that we've received from Mike. Always a pleasure to have Mike with us. Also a pleasure to have Undeveloped Bruce with us. It is good to see you, Bruce. I hope all is well with you and the dog family in particular. I hope everyone is doing well on that side. Happy New Year to you, first of all, for the first time this year. How's life in the universe with you, and who are you playing today?
Hello. Yeah, I've actually been ill recently, and I pulled off an amazing recovery today, which is great because I had no voice at all yesterday.
Wow.
And I've had this many strepsils in the last 24 hours. So I'm fine. My throat's feeling great now. But if I do get quiet later, it's because I might be dipping back down. But otherwise, amazing. The ongoing saga of Bruce having dial-up internet is over. I have fiber.
Let's go.
So all of my internet activities are going to restart, and I'm very excited. But for today, I'm super excited to be back in the shoes of Chwedl Weds Cragman, the dwarven minstrel from the Crags. Was really happy to be coming through the necropolis. Not the best place that he'd go usually on day to day, but it's a lot closer to the Crags than other places we've been, and I think he's been getting a bit homesick. So yeah, he's glad he can see the mountains in the distance, and he can just take heart to be like, that is home.
Right. Wait till we play the adventure, The Bard and the Crags, coming soon. I don't know if it's tied into me or not. But anyway, yes. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited. Always a pleasure. I'm sorry that you were sick, but I would not have been able to tell that at all if you hadn't mentioned it. So that's good stuff. And yes, if you do feel like you're dropping down, we'll totally understand. I would assume I'm just going to put up to role playing. I'm just weighed down by this place, it's a lot of dead. I don't know. But we will assume. Let's fire up a little bit of our graveyard background music / sound here. Let's see if I got this going. Yes, I hear it. And let's talk a little bit about what happened, chat, in our last session. The party, which, by the way, is level 5, is here, but they are missing one of their faithful companions. And that, of course, is this friend of theirs whose name is Joe. No, I'm just kidding. That is Boots, their ghost dog, Reginald's ghost dog, who, because of some connection to the temple and possibly related to some curse associated with this place where they are, Sepulchre, they do not have Boots with them at the moment. Boots has gone away. And so, under hashtag #SaveBoots, the party decided that it needed to do something to help Boots. More importantly, or I should say as importantly, it needed to help other people because there is something going on with this city of the dead. Of course, Sepulchre is known as being one of the most important, if not the most important, city of the dead that exists within the realm. And it is a place with which Reginald is familiar as this legendary place. Reginald, I would imagine, might have, thought to himself that this is how Like that's how you do your business. Like that's how you run a graveyard type of thing, right? That he would have imagined, but not at the moment. At the moment, unfortunately, something odd has happened with Sepulchre, and so the party went and found themselves there, having met someone whose name was Auntie. Huedel actually happened to know this person, a person who is considered to have a great deal of power because it is actually the mystic of the village, Villadoc's mystic. A cantankerous woman, but a very powerful woman, a very powerful magician and sorceress who is able to use her power for generally the side of good, or at least the side of balance. And when they found her waiting outside of Sepulchre, they knew that there was something wrong to begin with, because, as she explained, something felt wrong about the place. She had some bodies that she had to put away, and she was going to do this, and yet she found a bunch of evil and walking dead and creatures that are not supposed to be there, and the shepherds of the dead, the ghouls who are supposed to attend this place, themselves have not been visible, or at least not present in the way that one might expect. So she enlisted the party's aid. The party no sooner went inside the gate to the southern plot than they were beset by specters, by lemurs, by putrid zombies, and by skeletons. This was not much of a difficult battle for the party. The party, which is now level 5, as we'll discuss, had no difficulty dealing with them, but the point is something was wrong about it, and specifically, there is always kind of an aura of evil around the outside of the graveyard, which is supposed to keep, presumably, grave robbers out, which then changes when you get inside. Here, there was no such aura of evil outside. In fact, it all felt kind of comfortable. And then when you got inside, everything felt, on the other hand, evil and wrong and dark, which is not the way that it's supposed to feel inside. So everything seems to have been turned on its head. And after the party was able to defeat the creatures, they were asked by Auntie to help her with this final bit of the burial. And before they could move into the necropolis proper, her vision seemed to kind of seemed to almost kind of go into a trance. And she said, and I quote, something, excuse me, voice, "Something's not right in the sepulchre, puppets. Go seek the caretaker in the necropolis proper. Something's busted down under the earth, like a lock without a key, like a broken lock, like a door torn off its hinges, like the cat's got out and all the world's turned to mice. If you wouldn't like to be devoured, you'll listen to Auntie, and that's for free." And then her vision cleared, and she's like, "Well, what are you looking at me for?" And she went off to do her burying stuff. So something clearly is wrong, and the party needs to figure out what it is. And so the party, having determined among themselves that they wish to go into the great graveyard of Sepulchre and to the land of Necropolis to find out what's happening, we ended our session. And so as I bring things back for this session, I just want to quickly reset here. I have Lump at 30 out of 30 life, 10 out of 12 armor, and a helm, which is giving you -2 notice because of the helm. Noting that. And you have 1 out of 7 light fate, if I have that correct. Okay. Then we have Huedel, who is 32 out of 32 life. I have you at 2 out of 8 light fate. Is that right, Huedel?
I had myself at 3 out of 8, but I trust you more than me.
Yeah, because I think you used 1 is why. So I think we went from 3 down to 2, because I knew you started with more, but... and then 4 out of 6 spell points.
I got 3 out of 6
Oh,
spell
okay.
points.
Well, we went both directions. Okay. 3 out of 6 spell points. Let's see. Regina, I had you at 30 out of 30 life, 12 out of 12 armor. I had you at 1 out of 8, but now... And actually, let me go back to Bruce for a minute. Does Huedel start with 3 or with 2? You would normally start with...
It resets at the start of the session.
Right. So would you start with 2 or with 3?
Here's
start
the
with
extra
2.
one.
I start with 2 because I've got Fate Smile. If Huedel has that as well,
Right. So I wanted to know, do you start with 2, Huedel, or is that what you start with?
Yeah, I've got Fate Smile.
Okay, so then you are both at 2. Okay, so Regina, both of you at 2 out of 8. Okay, and last but certainly not least, Reginald. Oh yes, sure.
Sorry, I've got noted down that I've got a wound. Is this correct? Did I misclick? Because it's like a button. If you click on it, then it just pops up.
I don't have you with a wound. I don't think so.
Don't remember the fight getting that
No,
dicey
I don't
last
think
time.
so. It
Yeah,
would have had to have
then
been
I just
before,
misclicked.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay,
well, I mean,
sorry.
yes, you're all terribly wounded. And no. Okay, Reginald, I have you at 17 out of 25 life. You did kind of take it on the chin, or on
Yeah,
the
well,
thing.
in the brain.
In the brain. 2 out of right from the Spectre. 2 out of 2 life for your peddler's cloak. You still have a certain number of charges. You don't know how many on that wand to repair said peddler's cloak. You have 2 out of 8 light fate because you also have that extra smile of fate or whatever it is. And then 5 out of 7 spell points I have you at. Is that what you have? And the last thing is you have a -2 to psychic combat because of the hit from the Spectre until you've taken a short rest. So just be aware that that exists as a
there is.
thing to consider. So
I didn't know it. Trying to find where I knew I'd written it down somewhere. I was just trying. It's like, where did it go?
And chat, I have 1, 2. Come on, you can do it. Zoom in. Yeah. Focus. There we go. 2, 3, and 4, and 35 more. No, I have 4 dark fate. 1 for each player. Yes, exactly. Which can be used for this
I've just
one.
found all this light fate down the back of the sofa.
I have 40 light fate. Yeah, exactly. So that is what we have as we set up, and so let us get into it. So at the very last, at the end of the session, Auntie had headed off, but basically is able to do things on her own now that you cleared out the dangerous area. And you folks had said that you were heading on to the great graveyard of Sepulcher. And that basically is where we are headed now, which is through this gate here. And I don't have a map yet. Actually, wait a minute. I don't have a map exactly, but I might actually have a cutaway view. Let me see if I do. No, I don't have a cutaway view of that. So you will have to imagine as I paint with the power of the theater of the mind as I describe this for everybody. So the Great Graveyard of Sepulcher is the natural homeland of most ghouls in the realm, and it is the burial place of the dead of Villadoc. It is laid out much like a human village, only instead of homes and gardens, the ghouls have constructed mausolea of marble and stone, laying them out in neat rows and surrounding them with grave plots. The plots are carefully manicured. Little white stones fence off patches of gorse, elderberry, and oleander. Little ghoul children play behind these fences with balls or dolls of tanned leather, although they disappear into the mausolea as you pass. Dark and twisted trees rise behind the rows of mausolea homes, just starting to give forth curious green buds. Behind all of this, a massive stone and black marble monument rises, visible from all points in the necropolis. 2 quick notes on this. All of you are like impressed by this area. Reginald, you are, I would imagine, are incredibly impressed with how well taken care of all the graves are. But I do want to point out that something feels weird about this, specifically those green buds don't make sense, because the place, and all of you feel this, feels far more normal than expected from the stories and legends about it. There is no aura of evil, as you sensed in the Villadoc plot. So again, to back up here, the outside the gate of the graveyard felt normal when it's supposed to feel evil. Inside felt evil when it's supposed to feel normal. And this, again, is supposed to feel evil and it feels normal again. So something is very weird. You can hear birds singing, which seems odd and out of place. The ghouls that you see are few and far between, and they look haggard and sickly. Many of the ghouls are wounded, displaying fresh bandages and wounds a couple of days old at the most. There are an odd number of animals milling about as well. Dogs and cats and mules and toads and similar creatures, all quite alive, which seems even more strongly out of place. It feels a little bit as if you were in the midst of a graveyard, but then a pleasant village was overlaid on top of it, which seems to make very little sense. And as you're taking in the scene, you are approached by a pair of ghouls who are carrying scythes and wearing ancient-looking leather armor. And these soldiers come up, and one of them says, "State your business here."
Lump immediately looks over at Reginald.
Yeah,
I also
same.
stare at Reginald.
I just feel 3 sets of eyes boring into the back of me.
You pull out your small world guide, like, well, this means, you know.
I actually can't remember what led us coming here in the first place. If anyone can refresh me on that. But was it the temple told us? Oh, that was right. Yes, the temple said something going down here.
Correctly, and at the
Someone's going down
necropolis,
here,
which is the massive graveyard, the massive like mausoleum at the center of Sepulchre.
That's right.
So yeah.
I am Reginald, son of Roger and Ruby.
And they kind of look at you and they're like, the guard says, "Did you come to help with the robbery?"
I did not come to assist in a robbery.
And they kind of nod. One of the things that's interesting is, now you are all used to this because you've dealt with Reginald before, but you notice that like the reaction from the ghouls is exactly the same, so you can't tell if they're really pissed off or if they're like, "Oh, good, a ghoul," or if they're like, "You're all going to die," or if you're like, "We should give you an omelet." Like, you have no idea. So they're just sort of staring at Reginald, and the one responds and just like, "So, it means maybe you should come and talk to the caretaker."
We had been led to believe there was some trouble we needed to investigate here. The temple indicated there was some kind of disturbance, and why can we hear birds?
How do I... Wait a minute. Immediately my D&D mind was like, make an insight, and then I caught myself like, nope, don't make an insight. But I am going to have you make a check.
I have got notice.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say. I would like you to make a notice test check for me, please. So, so again, using our handy-dandy RPG skill check designed by One Pyre and Jade. Do you have the skill? And if so...
I do.
Do you have what foci do you have?
Do I smell any bird poo?
Well, that wasn't exactly what I was thinking of with this notice. So just 3d6 plus aspect, I think, is what we're looking at.
Okay. Worth a try. I'm going to get this to work for something.
Someday it's going to work.
That would be a regular 16.
Okay. So what that means is that is a standard success. And that gives you enough information to know that the minute you mention why are there birds, and again, I don't know whether anyone else besides a ghoul would be able to notice this. You can tell from the reaction of the guards. Maybe it's the way that they draw back a little bit. Maybe it's the way that they grip their sides a little tighter. But you can tell that this is a bit of a sore subject. And in fact, you can see as you're standing there, a cat comes up and starts rubbing along the ankles of the ghoul. And one of the ghoul guards kind of looks down and says, "That's been an unfortunate circumstance. The caretaker would know. And the incident the temple's speaking about is the theft." And the other guard nods. "Aye, the theft." And then the guard, who's standing very awkwardly as the cat continues to rub along its ankles, would you follow the caretaker?" And he kind of jerks his head. So you can tell, Reginald, that you hit a bit of a nerve, so to speak, by mentioning the bird.
Well, it seemed like the word.
It's true. And then both of them break into a bird. No. Okay. So so he says, "Will you come with us to the caretaker?"
I think that would be best. I turn to the others and I go, "It's the third burial place that's had a robbery or attempted robbery. It was mine. It was the temple. And now it's Sepulchre."
It wasn't me, although I've been at all the three places.
Yeah, I'm suspicious, to be honest. I've seen her at 2 of those places. I am a witness. I can say that she has been at 2 of the scenes of the robberies. I didn't see them happen. But
No.
Do it.
We need to blame somebody else. It wasn't me.
Oh, right. I've also seen Lump at both of the robberies.
Tries to playfully kind of bash you in the shoulder, but probably since he's accidentally flying, yeah, he's like...
Also, the way he worded it, when he first talked to Reginald, it sounded like there was a possibility they want assistance in a robbery. And I mean, if that is the case...
You get the impression, Regina, that they might have been referring to there has been a theft. You think?
Not grabbing graves. Just looks at Regina, disappointed again.
But if it's their graves...
Not
People don't usually commission people to rob their own graves.
bad people do.
You can rob my grave if I died before you. Got my permission to do that, if you like.
Can't play Kruth, no point.
No, okay, you don't have the permission to take the Kruth. Anything else in my grave you can have, but the Kruth stays with me, thank you. I thought that was a given. I didn't think I'd have to say that out loud.
Don't want Kruth, can't play Kruth.
But if
Too
you
small.
die first, we will be the ones to bury you. So we are the ones who have to put the stuff into your grave first.
Yeah, so you can put in whatever you like, and you can take it back later.
Take stuff from body, then bury. Don't steal from grave. Loot corpse, then bury body.
That
Different.
seems like less work.
Different.
That's usually happened by the time they arrive at my graveyard.
Okay.
Loot good, mostly. Grave robbing bad all time.
Graves here are, well, I'd imagine protected, but who knows? Maybe a
cats?
bird will just sit on your
Comes over
shoulder
to the
these
cat.
days.
Yeah,
Cat
and you notice a
goes.
couple birds settle on the top of several gravestones nearby and tweet happily. And the ghoul guards look as uncomfortably as a ghoul can look in their direction.
Disgusting. It just ruins the ambiance.
Yeah. Totally.
It takes a lot of work to get a graveyard to feel right. People have expectations.
Lump is just looking you up and down, Reginald.
Do you know how hard it is to train the spiders?
No, I don't. But I
You
believe
don't
you.
like to stay in the corner you put them in to weave the cobwebs.
Wow, how inconsiderate.
If the city ever finds out how that last plague started, they might be annoyed.
Yeah.
At this point, Lump is going to walk over to Reginald and very carefully lift his arms out so he's T-posing where he's standing. No problem
Are
with
you-
arm balance. Arm balance look fine. He starts tapping your arms.
If
You said
You-
there's problem with arm balance.
you
Oh.
stand at
There you go.
It was a penny.
There you go. Heard that one from me.
if you stand like this, the birds will land on you and the ghouls will hate you.
I'm
Lump
not a
immediately
scare
stands-
ghoul.
Lump
I'm a
immediately
care
stands with his
ghoul.
arms out. Like a Disney princess waiting for a bird to fly into his hand.
Yeah, I found better music for this, by the way. Very appropriate for the inside of a dead village, a dead city. So the guards kind of look at you all and are like, "Will you come with us?"
They turn around to see us all like this.
Yeah, exactly.
In a circle.
And then says, "First, thank you to Darkhole Sun for the raid. Welcome, everyone, to Sepulchre, the happiest little dead village city in the realm." Welcome, everybody.
To the
Thank you.
happiest graveyard you've ever been to.
Thank you so much for the raid, Darkhole Sun. Welcome, everybody. Big fan of the name, by the way. Tremendous song too.
Just like, all right, who blessed the necropolis? Own up.
Somebody fell over, and yeah, that's great.
No,
but welcome,
someone read the
raiders.
word upside down. It's not. No, you were supposed to do the opposite thing. You read the quiet bit out loud. Don't bless the necropolis.
Oh man. The guards kind of look at you uncomfortably, and the birds near them, and the cat that still is trying to rub up on the ankle of the one.
Is that a rainbow?
And the ghoul guard looks over his shoulder.
I hope so.
Yes, it's been here for a little while.
This needs fixing.
And they nod very
graveyard
definitively.
I follow the guards.
I agree.
Okay, you follow along as you start hearing, "No one goes like Veston." No.
I motion Alette from where she was hiding, which I did previously.
Yes.
And I'm going to assume, though, correct me if I'm wrong, Alette is just a bit more okay with this surrounding, rather than being, in the middle of a fight with specters.
Yes. Quite very, very much so. And as she goes along, she says, she kind of whispers to you, Lump, "Oi, this isn't what I always heard Sepulchre was like. Is this normal? When you all go in graveyards and stuff, I thought it was more like what you were doing last time. You're fighting, undead types. And here they're all like, oh, it's all right. There's cats and birds and..."
Seems nice. Graveyard's normally quiet, not many ghouls. This one seem pretty. Pretty graveyard, smell nice, have nice animals.
So, we need to fix it? I mean, it looks right, isn't it?
Might be bad magic causing it.
Well, all right, but if you have bad magic and it makes a happy place, and a bird flutters by, tweeting mightily, then maybe that's all right.
Could be, but bad magic can swap things. Could make all good places bad, all bad places good. Need to make sure that doesn't happen.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose you mean that the village where I came from and all that might actually look like what this place is supposed to be?
Everything that's not a graveyard could be a graveyard if not stopped.
Well, that's no good. I always heard it took a village to raise a graveyard. And she kind of rubs the back of her head and... Right, okay.
Magic's tricky.
And she nods and she says, I guess so. All right, let's do what we can to make this place scary and horrifying again, I guess. And she kind of, she sort of finds herself smiling in spite of herself at a little puppy that comes up and wags its tail and barks at her. And she's like, hello. And then she sees one of the ghoul guards looking back. And she's like, right, sorry. And goes along. So you were led to, first of all, the picture of Sepulchre, in case Chad is curious. That is what it looks like. Although right now it's looking a lot happier than that would normally look like. But that's the basic idea. But I also have another.
Looking a bit like Disneyland.
Yeah, exactly. It's like happy Disneyland, yes. But we also have something else that I want to show you all, which is the picture of this place you're being led to. You are led to a low-slung building of marble slab, which has recently been scraped free of moss, and chiseled into its door lintel is the name of the establishment, the White Cat Public House. And I'm going to show you a picture of the White Cat Public House, which looks something a little bit like, whoop, that's not right. No, I need you to look in D&D, and then, nope. I need to look into Talisman, yes, okay. Good, lovely. We're all fine here, thanks. How are you? Okay, here you go. Picture coming up right now. So now you can see what this looks like. And it may look a little bit like, oh, that seems like there's some rain, but it actually looks to be in pretty good shape for what you gather is supposed to be the way that these things actually look. Because when you enter, the interior is free of dust and debris, and it's warmly lit by torches and perfumed with incense in brass braziers. Tables of repurposed coffin wood and stools of short marble pillars prominently display elegant carvings. There are a few ghouls sitting at tables, talking in muted, anxious tones, or drinking a dark beer-like brew from gold goblets or cups of bone. The ambiance is a macabre facsimile of a typical inn or tavern. At the far end, you can see a large marble fireplace burns perpetually, and it's tended by a young ghoul with a fire poker. And behind the polished wood counter, a nondescript ghoul feeds scraps of something flesh-like to a glossy, iridescent beetle in a wooden cage, its carapace glittering in the firelight. Long shelves carved in the niches of catacombs hold drinkwares. Several slightly dusty decanters of the liquor on offer, labeled in a crabbed but elegant hand as Urzael's embalming fluid. Don't worry, the proprietor says, looking up from the beetle cage and smiling at you with fine pointed teeth. It's not literal. Wait here, says one of your escorts. The caretaker will be here shortly. And both of them leave you all to wait. So, behind the counter, the proprietor, who apparently is named Urzael, is going about and is feeding some more flesh to this iridescent beetle. But you could certainly talk to him or to each other if you wish.
Quaddle will go over. Is it like a bar counter type thing?
Yes,
deal?
that's where he's
Yeah.
behind, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Well, Quaddle will, casually lean an arm against it, presumably up here.
Yes.
All right. I'll have a pint of your your finest embalming liquid, please.
And
Or your second finest, if the finest is expensive. Or the third finest. Well, I'm flexible.
And Urzael says, absolutely. It's good to see some of the other races taking part in this, so it's not just ghouls. The embalming fluid's good for everyone. Good for what ails you. Very good to preserve your portions. And then stops laughing abruptly. And
I love my portions to be preserved. Thank you.
Excellent, then. And comes down and lifts up a keg. And you notice that the keg has what looks like it looks like it's actually made of some kind of metal. And it's metal on the top, but you can notice that on the sides are sort of like these clear, what might be like glass panels. And what'll you think, although you're not 100% sure because Urzael pours very quickly, you think you might have seen something drifting inside the liquid. You don't entirely know what it was, but pours it out quickly and then hands over this mug to you and says, "Bottoms up. Or I suppose in this case, tops down."
Yeah.
And then he sort of smiles again, with rather awkwardly with his pointed teeth, and goes back to feeding his beetle. So now you have this embalming fluid, Hweddle.
I fly over, sit on the bar, and stare at Hweddle with expectation in my eyes, very calm and very staring.
Yep, I joined the two on the other side of Hweddle.
All right. Hweddle feels a lot of pressure now to, you can't just snip it and go, "Oh, I don't mind," even if he doesn't like it, he's going to have to drink the whole thing now.
Mm-hmm.
He's just going to go in one go, just all the way down.
So it's this draft is a pallid greenish yellow color, and it is a noisome fragrance that's thick and cloying on the tongue. So when you drink this stuff, which is sort of like, it's kind of like, it smells a little bit like rotting flowers. If anyone's ever heard of the corpse flower, that might be another example. Sort of smells like that. And yes, as you drink it, as I mentioned, sort of thick and cloying, sort of tastes like honey that's gone bad, Hweddle. And as you're drinking this, but you begin to feel a little bit like you feel sort of impressed, like kind of like this place and the people in it, it's a good place, and isn't it wonderful to be alive? I mean, dead, but with these people dead, but like alive with us. And you feel very like, all right, like not entranced or like you're going to do anything terrible, but you're like, you know what? God damn it, it's good to be here at this moment in the White Cat Public House in the middle of a bizarro City of the Dead. It's good. You feel a little euphoric, Weddle, I think might be the way to describe it.
I just wanted to say, this might feel like it comes out of nowhere, but have I told you, Lump, that you've got beautiful eyes?
Well.
And I just want you to know that I really appreciate your friendship and all of you. You've all been so good to me, actually. You've just welcomed me. Everything's been so good. I just want to thank you. That's all. It's fine. It's fine. Everyone ignore me. I'm just so lucky to have you.
You notice the beetle is now turned in its cage and is looking at you too, Weddle.
I put an arm
And
around,
you,
around
Beetle, you're my new friend, Mr. Beetle. Do you need some more flesh? I've got so much flesh.
Its mandibles go like this.
He's getting out his rapier. He's gonna cut off his finger.
I just take the rapier off Weddle real quick. I'm just like,
Barman, one more.
and then I look to the others. I'm like,
Gets like this after strong drink. One more gets singy.
So the Urzil happily provides a new mug of the embalming fluid. Lump, you think you also notice this strange something or other floating around inside the cloudy liquid.
but I'll make a motion for all three of us, myself, Regina, and Weddle, to have a mug.
Sure, absolutely. And I was
Reginald, what are you doing at the minute?
I was just about to ask Reginald what Reginald was
I'm
doing.
at the bar with everyone at the moment.
Okay.
Four mugs.
So he kind of doof, 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 lines them up. And,
That's not, you don't need to drink it. I've ordered them though.
yeah, he's,
I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that happy. That's not good. I've seen people be like that happy. Like if you live with the other sprites, they are like, oh, tinkle, tinkle, happy, happy. I don't like it.
Maybe
Why
booze
do you
just
drink?
Maybe booze affect people differently. Weds is like this a lot. When booze strong.
Yeah, no.
Lump just picks his cup up.
Just have a swig.
So right. So all of you. So Regina. I shouldn't say all of you. Regina does not drink any of this. But
I'm
Lump,
not drinking happy booze.
So
I drink angry booze.
angry booze. Lump, you drink. I've certainly known people for whom booze has that effect. You drink. So Lump drinks it, and Lump, you have a similar experience to what Weddle seems to be having, where you feel, it's like, and it's good to be a troll. Like, it's good to be strong. It's good to just smash things in half and have people sort of, understand that you're the kind of person who does the smashing. Like, it's all good. You got good friends. Reginald, when you have this drink, when you drink some of it, the experience is a little bit different for you. First of all, I would like you to roll 2d6, please, for me.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
5.
You heal 5 hit points of life, so you are down up to 22 now.
How very Planescape.
Yeah, you feel actually.
Yeah, it does feel like that, doesn't it?
You do feel considerably better. And the way that you would experience this, Reginald, is first of all, you're like, this is great stuff. Like, you love the bouquet. But your sense is not so much of euphoria. It's more like a hyper awareness. When you drink this, you feel suddenly like the outlines of everything are very sharp and distinct. You feel very alert, not in a like, oh, jittery, but I mean, like, you're sort of like, you're on it, Sherlock Holmesy, you know where things are and so on. And you get the sense that, again, even inside the tavern, everyone is kind of in a better mood than you might have expected for a tavern that's guarded by the dead. Again, it's not that the dead walk around being depressed, because there's a certain acceptance there. It's that they their lives are their lives, or their deaths are their deaths, and whatever. But they seem a little bit almost like as if you're watching someone whose cheeks were flushed when they were talking to you, and they're a little bit like, that's how Urziel feels a little bit like, isn't that great? type of thing where you're like, you all right there? Everything feels a little too much for what you would expect from a ghoul place. But certainly the embalming fluid is good stuff.
Ooh. Can I get some of this to go?
I think we can arrange it. Although make sure that you pay for some of it, or you put me out of business. And then I'd have to go, well, tend a grave.
Yes.
And he kind of nods as if you're finally the person who's gotten the joke. Understand? Like nods sort of firmly at you. And while you're all enjoying this pleasant little moment, the door to the public house creaks open, and an exceptionally elderly ghoul, older than any of you have ever seen, and even older, Reginald, than you have ever seen, enters, leaning lightly on a carved mahogany shepherd's crook. And he approaches all of you at the bar, and Urziel kind of nods to him respectfully. And he approaches you, eyes you thoroughly, and says, "You're the ones who saw to the waywards in the southern plots for the mystic, are you?"
Yep, that's us.
We guided the lost souls to the beyond.
I'm glad someone did. It's been difficult here, and we needed someone to try to set the balance right. But just bringing a few lost souls, well, that won't be anything different for... And then he kind of trails off, and he looks at you, Reginald, and he says, And he comes up to you, and he kind of sniffs your shoulder, like, and then... And all the other ghouls around are, like, very politely looking as if this is all very normal. And then he says, You have the stink of the grave. The city grave. Are you a tender of the city graveyard, then?
I do not work in the main city graveyard. I tend to a smaller one on the outskirts of the city, handed down to me by my parents, Roger and Ruby.
Ah, you have the smell of someone who shepherds the dead. You're welcome, then. And all of you are welcome, even though we are not at our best. This has been, and he shakes his head slowly, not what we expected. And one of the couple of the ghouls sort of at the nearby table sort of nods slowly.
It is not as I had been led to believe this was from the stories of my parents.
And he says, "That does not surprise me. Things have changed. Quite a bit, actually." And he pauses, he says, "At first we thought that this was the work of your standard grave robbers. They're a trouble from when trying to make a voice that doesn't keep you from coughing. Excuse me, they're a trouble from time to time. But then we saw that the interlopers had got into the mausoleum, that large building in the center of Sepulchre. You probably saw it when you came through. When the guards tried to stop them, they used some kind of magic, a burning light. Horrible stuff. It burned and blinded many of us, and we were caught off guard. I believe they got into the main chamber of the catacombs and took..." And then he breaks off. Anyway, there's a secret hidden there. The one who keeps and preserves us has a charm that maintains us as we are, and thus maintains the realm. I believe thieves took it. No one's been able to get down there to check, but this, well, a change has come upon us. Many were transformed during the thieves' escape, and that would suggest what really happened. And he kind of trails off.
This is the
Did
third
anyone-
such time we've encountered thieves raiding graves. They raided my own graveyard at the start of this long journey. Then they attempted to raid the mausoleums of the temple, and the temple suggested help would be needed here, and now they have raided the mausoleum at the heart of Sepulchre. It does not feel like petty coincidence.
Aye, and there's no respect given for the dead. Walking in and robbing graves is bad enough, but walking in and robbing death itself, that's... And he looks up at Urzael, and Urzael says, "A living joke." And
They stole
the
death.
caretaker just sort of shakes his head. Sorry? Say that again.
They stole. I stared to go. They stole death.
Well, it's...
I mean, I'm with you. Grave robbery is horrible, but they stole death.
Is it a talisman?
I need you to make for me a persuasion test, Lump. This is using wits, so we shall see.
We shall see indeed.
Want to use?
It's only plus wits if he has the skill.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
Unless
so-
you have like.
So I don't know. I have intimidation, not persuasion.
Tell me what you need to know.
That is his way of persuading.
Yeah. So you would just be rolling
3d6.
3d6, I guess. You know.
I will. 12.
He says, "I'm sorry, but I cannot speak about this to outsiders. Most of our people."
It's a talisman.
He says, "Most of our people do not know the truth of she who sleeps below." And when he says that, a bunch of the, like, Urzael sort of like, and the beetle, like, scurries back against the back, like, the back of its cage, and sort of like, and a couple of the ghouls sort of look up, and there's a silence that comes over the tavern for a minute. And then he says, the caretaker says, "Suffice it to say that we honor her as our shield and protector, and it is her presence in concert with her talisman which allows us to dwell here and shepherd the dead, as we've done since the great wizard's day."
Definitely a talisman.
Right, the great wizard, the big magic man, got you.
Oh no,
Wink,
here
wink.
he goes.
Definitely was not affected by any dwarf or bard. No, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that at
Just
all.
poke Queddle and just go, "Don't taste anything down there."
It's all right. I don't consume, lick, eat anything that I don't solidly know the origins of anymore. And he goes and he leans over and gets the third mug of embalming fluid that the sprites didn't drink. Just like, I am very responsible now.
Do you drink the whole thing?
Yeah.
Or do you
it's
just,
only
like,
3
take a
pints.
sip?
He's a dwarf.
Oh,
You can
okay.
have 3 pints of
I was going to say,
embalming
if he
fluid.
didn't drink all of it, Lump was just going to take the cup off of Weddle and go,
Definitely not true.
And so he looks at you and he says, "I was hoping there would be some who would come to help us. We saw the people who stole this charm of ours, and, well, I think that there are problems associated with it, because these people are called, I think, Redeemers. It's a clerical order associated with the chapel, extremist order. They're often trying to clear out of Sepulchre. They believe there's an evil clouding our city. You've seen this prejudice before, Reginald." Actually, I should have asked whether you had introduced yourselves name-wise. I don't think you did. So maybe he doesn't say Reginald here. He just sort of says, "You understand the type," he says to you. Reginald. And then he says, "They believe we and all of our kind are also evil and in service to oblivion. And this, of course, is rubbish. The aura that usually surrounds us is part of what protects us, and it allows us to keep the dead from rising from the plots and plaguing the realm. Without it, and without the talisman that allows she who sleeps below to maintain it, we cannot serve our purpose and manage the corpses and spirits. So they have become waywards, risen dead, as you saw. Anyway, these redeemers serve a horrible, unkind light. Not the light of day, which is benign and necessary as night and death, but a searing, blinding light. Light which burns." In Talisman, name drop.
Lum puts the cup down that he took from Weds and from Weddle and goes,
Costly. Talisman's tricky.
and he turns around on his bar stool and looks at the old ghoul and goes,
How much?
And
he's kind of waiting for a disgusted look from Reginald, I'm not going to lie.
No, Reginald's expecting this.
Cool, excellent.
Does he? Okay.
We've been through a lot together. It's like,
Hey man, Troll's got to eat, okay?
That's a discussion between you and him.
Yep.
And so assuming you do ask that, then he says, I understand that the living races have a need for these things, so you can find any gold and silver grave goods and items kept below. I'm sure none of you have ever done the terrible deed of robbing graves, of stealing from the dead, of taking from them their link to this world, and breaking the natural order. None
I just
of
imagine him
you
walking
would
slowly
have done that.
towards Regina as he's saying this.
Right. Well, no, and everyone seems to be almost in a prayerful attitude, like the Beatles' mandibles are together. Like, it's just like, like, and he's like,
He's walked straight past us three. He's just like, none of you will have done this heinous act before.
Right. And he says, so this is our chance to reward you with treasures from the graves, freely given, not stolen as thieves would, from these innocent people who have passed beyond. And he kind of looks directly at Regina, though no doubt completely out of coincidence.
Wait, you can get a permission to take stuff from graves?
And he sort of blinks. He says, in this one unique special circumstance, yes.
Is it like for 1 year?
He pauses and sort of stares at you, and a few of the other ghouls stare at you. The beetle stares at you.
It's not a subscription.
Urzael stares at you. He says, what you find now as you search now. The beetle
We can now
nods.
search the necropolis?
Well,
Like all the necropolis?
well,
Like what are we talking about here?
he says,
Geographic specifics would be great, thanks.
he says, the thieves fled to the hills north of Sepulchre, or at least that's the gate they went out of, the northern gate. If you can find and retrieve the talisman, you can bring it back to the lady in the catacombs. And once there, you will have things you can take from them. Anything from the thieves is yours to keep, and anything as you bring the talisman directly to the lady in Sepulchre, in the necropolis, will be yours, assuming you travel directly to the place.
I have a
How
question.
much did the thieves take?
He's already turned to Whittle for a minute, and he says,
Yes,
yes.
you said anything the thieves took, and then we bring the talisman back here, and then we can take anything from here. Does that include the talisman? Because I kind of need one for academic, scholarly purposes. So I'm just...
Dead silence falls on the tavern for a minute, and like you just hear the clicking of the beetle once or twice. And then he says, even if this were not essential to how sepulchre works, I am afraid we could not give you this item. Its nature is to change, and it is always changing. The lady's influence kept it stable, and so too the reverse. I cannot speculate as to the effect it will have had on the thieves, save that several ghouls were changed to toads and cats and other things as the thieves escaped. These paranormal phenomena have left a trail, if you like, from the northern gate where the thieves left. So if I were to give you this item, even if I could, it would destroy Sepulchre and eventually destroy you.
The cats are ghouls?
And he nods, and one of the beetles sort of looks as despondent as a beetle could ever look. And he nods, he says, all the creatures you see here were ghouls. We do not have living creatures here. Some ghost companions, but none living, at least until now. And we don't know how to feed a cat. This Urzael's friend here doesn't seem to like the flesh so much. It is succulent and delicious. And, and Urzael sort of nods, and the beetle is like...
So if we, including Reginald, go towards the talisman, our Reginald will turn into a random animal?
I don't think it
Would
works.
be the first time.
I don't think it works that way, but I can tell you that all of us here will eventually change. Sepulchre will become a happy, joyous place, and everywhere else will become like Sepulchre. Maybe that's good for us, but I'm not sure the rest of you would want to live in our graveyard for the rest of your lives.
Nah.
I have another question. So this talisman's shapey, changey, not sure what it's going to look like. So to clarify, from now on, I have to not lick anything.
Yeah.
'Cause we
Don't
don't
lick
know-
the talisman for science.
All right, because anything could be the talisman. So I'm not allowed to lick anything else.
The talisman is with the grave robbers that did not have a permission. So don't lick the stuff that the grave robbers have. I think everything else you're allowed to lick.
All right.
Or at
cool.
least, if you're not allowed to lick something, and if it's alive, it usually does something after licking.
Get
I don't lick
permission to
people
lick
anyway.
first.
How much
Right.
fluid did he have?
Oh, good point. Could I have another one, please? And he puts a couple of gold coins on the counter.
Probably pay
We should
for it
get
all, to be
going
honest.
soon, shouldn't we? We've been here a while. We should get going. Where was this? Some big room. We should go and have a look at the site of the crime.
And he says, the trail goes to the north out of the gate. And if you are kind enough to see things through, then you can buy most things you need from Urzael here. Urzael, you can give them a free bottle of the embalming fluid, yes? And Urzael says, of course, although I'm robbing myself. And so he does in fact hand a bottle. One bottle contains 3 doses, which you get for free. You can buy additional bottles for 30 gold each.
Can we sell the bottle
nah,
for
I'm
30
alright.
gold?
That was a very expensive evening of drinking.
Yep.
Yeah.
And well paid.
It's an bourgeoising fluid is really what it is.
Oh no.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I look over to.
You only owe 120
sorry,
gold.
what
It's
was the-
fine. Sorry.
What was the?
I didn't ask for the stuff they used on pharaohs.
What was the bar person's name?
Urzael.
Urzael. I look over at Urzael and go,
What's hero discount?
And he says, he kind of looks over at the caretaker, and the caretaker says, typically, the embalming fluid is not used for outsiders. By giving you, how much have you given? And Urzael says, now 2 bottles. By giving you 2 full bottles worth of embalming fluid between the mugs you've already drank and this, you would normally either have to pay with, and he kind of does some calculations, a total of probably nearly 100 gold, but also your lives. However, I have waived that requirement.
I look over at the caretaker and then I motion my arm over to Reginald. I'm like,
Embalming fluid for ghoul friend. Keep him alive longer. More of us alive, better chance getting Talisman back.
And he nods and he says, that's why you have a free bottle. 3 doses.
I look
will
at Lump.
help.
I look at Lump. So, those grave robbers apparently went into a really important grave and took a talisman. So we can assume that they are really good grave robbers. And if they're really good grave robbers, they could have a lot of stuff. But if they were only here to take the talisman, maybe they didn't take anything else.
True.
And then we come to do not grave robbing, because we're not robbing graves, we're robbing grave robbers. So we're grave robbers. Then we don't get anything.
Loot.
If that happens, I think, just out of spite, Huetl should be allowed to lick the talisman.
Don't
Just
know.
once.
Like I
For
like
science.
wets.
So I think,
Also-
like,
If we're grave robbers,
yes,
is
Loot.
Reginald's, because he's not very chipper, is he a grave robber?
oh, yes.
I thought
I
I
am
Reginald
under
is a
supervised
grave robber.
supervision.
Don't know anymore.
But apparently the ghouls know what is in the grave, so they could tell us what the grave robbers have before we become grave robbers, but they don't. So I think they're trying to shortchange us.
They don't know what robbers took, other than Talisman.
I think they do.
No,
And
they're
I
lovely.
think the robbers-
These are my new best friends. They wouldn't shortchange us. Look at his lovely face. Look
Urzael's
at
like,
him.
I look down at Wet. I
That's
imagine
the
like
beetle.
like decayed mouth sort of
Yeah,
thing. Like there's nothing
Sharpen.
but teeth. I look down at Words. I'm like,
Tricky people everywhere.
Yeah.
I look over at Regina.
So
They have gold goblets in here,
gold.
and they're
go
not willing to
north.
pay. They're not willing to pay us.
and there's a moment's pause, and the caretaker sort of lowers his voice, and he comes over to you, Reginald, and he says, I am most grateful for any assistance you can provide, but I must tell you, you can share this with your friends if you wish, but this talisman has never been missing in my lifetime, nor that of any caretaker I know of before me. If the waywards are the way that they seem, They will surely spill beyond the catacombs and the southern plot in due course, and then there are enough in the necropolis to blanket the land in corpses. The collectors are hard at work trying to keep them from escaping, but there are many, many times more dead down there below than there are shepherds to keep them. So if we do not stop this situation here and reverse what has happened, the land outside will probably be destroyed in a tide of undead. He says this quietly enough that you can hear it, Reginald. He says, I do not want to cause a panic, but that is the situation.
Yes, the balance is greatly disturbed.
He nods.
This could not just tip the scales, this could shatter them completely.
He nods.
So I turn to the others and go, well, you are understandably enthusiastic about the possibility that's been granted to you. The longer we wait, the more chance all the dead in the catacombs might spill out into the realm.
Should go soon.
Yeah, let's go.
Plus,
The
if-
cracks are near here.
Plus,
They'll
if
be
these
going to the
people
cracks
are
first.
clerics do like their shiny baubles for their churches.
Hmm.
There is a high chance they will have more than just this talisman.
Quaddle's off. He's convinced. He's not letting these undead come out and take the crags his home. He's already out the door. He's going. He's gonna find the way north. He's off.
Who's looking after the bottle? Just a quick table talk.
I'm going to give it to you.
Quick
Okay.
note about that bottle, by the way. One of the other things that the caretaker tells you is that the embalming fluid can also be used to impact and sometimes even reverse the effect of this shift that's happened. So some changed creatures can sometimes be changed back, which is another reason that they can't afford to just give this away, because they're trying to use it as best they can to like change, creatures back to the way they were. The problem is that there's just way more people changed than there's embalming fluid to change them, and it's not clear how long the effect of the embalming fluid will last. Like, it'll do the job, but like 48 hours later, will it reverse again because of the power of this charm? So, but in any case, that's another thing to keep in mind. The other thing is that you can also buy anything that is available at the tools and market goods, and this is in your manuals at 116 and 117. You could get any of those things if you have the money for it. The only thing he does not have, Urzael, is foodstuffs. So he doesn't have any food type items. And I already told you about the cost of the embalming fluid, extra bottles and stuff.
So what was available to us? 116 and 117.
That's right.
Pages.
Which is basically like,
Okay.
so it has stuff like, like flask of oil, lantern, snare, sealing wax, rope ladder, stuff like that. There is a healing potion there as well that they're able to sell a couple of. What they do not have is things like rations or water bottles or anything like that. The only exception is the healing potion. They only have one of those. And that's a healing potion for, like, the living, not the ghouls. So
Quaddle wants to come back inside and buy a pair of manacles, please. He hasn't got a pair of manacles. Those would be good if we ever need to take a prisoner.
Okay.
I just
In the unlikely
close
event
my
we
eyes
leave
and
anyone
gone,
alive.
that from the book.
Absolutely. Yeah, as long it's 2 gold, so as long as people know how much gold they have. I have not been keeping track of your gold, so I don't know how much gold you folks have available to you, but yes.
I have 8 left after the manacles.
Okay. Yep, you can do that.
I'm going to get some rope and a rope ladder.
Okay, so it looks like
So
2 gold there.
That's 1 gold each, so
Yep.
2 gold in total.
Yep.
Okay, for now, I think Reginald's not going to get anything currently. And if you are tracking, just for purposes, I have 17 gold.
Okay.
I think I have 22.
Okay.
I'll just double check that.
Left over, you mean?
Our charismatic
So
negotiator.
now it would be 20.
Now you have 20. Okay.
So what was that?
Our charismatic negotiator of the party.
Yes. Well, as we're walking out, I'm assuming Regina's coming with us while we're walking out. He's just sort of like,
I assume Regina's buying like 17 shovels right now.
Why are you buying
don't
50
have-
sacks? No reason.
I don't have Muriel anymore. I still need somebody to carry my stuff. Can our new barmaid carry my stuff?
I do lean over to her and go, "How much can you carry?"
Yes, please.
And she kind of stares at you and she says, you think I'm a pack mule?
Yes. No.
And she stares at
In
you.
this job,
Yes?
we're in
No. No. I said no. The last one is always the thing that you said, right?
in this line of work, everyone is a pack mule.
And she kind of stares at you very slow, like kind of is thinking it through. I will say that she will be able to carry some stuff for you, but she's going to use a loyalty for this.
Okay.
She
How
really
many?
is not a pack
How
mule.
many loyalty does she have? Because she's seen quite a lot of new stuff recently.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I thought that would be.
Let me gather that.
Now we're starting to spend it. I want to know how much I've accumulated.
Right. -5 loyalty. No.
Whoa, hang on. -5 loyalty. With such sights we've shown her. We have such things to show you.
By the way, people in chat, while Arv is looking things up, this is really good. This is the camera again is like, nope, I don't know what this is, and I'm not gonna. So like this Talisman rulebook, because I know currently a lot of people are looking for new RPGs to try out. So this is like the Talisman base book, and it actually has the player's handbook. It has the Dungeon Master's book in it. It has a small monster part, and I think also one adventure, but I wasn't allowed to look at it when we were playing it. So it has a map, it has the tokens, the counters that you need, and all of this. So if you're looking to try out something new, this is actually quite a complete package, and it's a really fun system. So recommendation for myself, and I've played quite a lot of RPGs in my time.
I agree with all that. So she has a maximum loyalty of 8, but she only starts with 4. So she would be down after doing this to 3. But as a reminder, you can restore a loyalty when she is paid a gold or when she's given an item worth at least 1 gold. However, I will also say that because it allows her to restore 1 loyalty whenever she witnesses a new creature, place, or wonder of magic that she's never seen before, and clearly this whole place qualifies. So let's say that 4, she went up to 5, she lost 1 because she's going to be carrying stuff, so she's sitting at 4. So she's at 4 loyalty out of 8. Now remember, when you get down to 0 loyalty, there's always the risk that they're going to basically tell you to go pound sand. So you can increase loyalty over the time. And if you want to pay gold or give an item worth of gold, that can also restore loyalty. And again, maximum loyalty is 8.
Maximum 8, thank you.
I would like to.
Sorry,
no, you go first.
No, please, after you.
I would like to buy a thieves tools, please, for 1 gold, and the tinker's toolkit as well for 1 gold. Please.
When you buy the thieves tools, by the way, Urzael hands this over and is kind of like, "Of course, you wouldn't use this to rob anything." And the caretaker
if I wanted to rob
stares at
If
you.
I wanted to rob a grave here, I would have bought a shovel. Do you have shovels?
So right, I was gonna wait. How long was the gap?
How much are your shovels?
The beetle just clicks a couple times, and he says, "We do have shovels, if you can dig it."
Look, and I'm not buying one of your shovels. Ha!
And then he sort of, like, very oddly decides to smile for no reason. Okay, so you can do these things. I love that even the description can be used for digging holes, burying corpses, or digging up corpses. If you're a grave robber or a ghoul, we won't judge. I mean, so many assumed bigotries in that. So many assumptions. You just can't, Anyway.
Just a quick inventory management thing. I'm also going to buy 2 haversacks.
Okay, now, quick note. I'm not going to get too much into encumbrance, but you have 2 haversacks. It's probably fine for you in terms of load. As far as the Thieves' Tool and the Tinker's Toolkit, that's fine, Regina. That's not going to be a problem. Huedel, you were getting the manacles. That's also not going to be, too much of an imposition. So Lump, that's fine. If anyone else was like, I'm also going to get 5, shovels and 6 climbing harnesses and 2 rope ladders. I mean, because you also got the rope ladder and the rope. Now, the rope ladder and the rope, by the way, Lump, is bulky. It's not heavy specifically, but it is bulky. That's fine. Again, that's not a big deal. Just remember, as we start collecting loot, I will keep very, very, very rough track. Nobody likes encumbrance, but I will keep rough track so it does not become like Dark Souls, where it literally is like I have 700 helms, any one of which I could wear at any time.
I'm not going to start chunky rolling around the battlefield.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a fat roll. It really is a big difference, too. Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right. So once you've got what you need, the caretaker bids you farewell and, wishes you the best. And then tells you to head north, so the north gate of Sepulchre, towards the foothills below your old stomping grounds, Huedel, towards the crags. And the trip north is going to involve a little bit of exploration. Now, we have not had a chance to do exploration here for a while. We did it actually, I think, in our first adventure, but we have not had a chance to do much of it lately, so we get to talk about the exploration rules here. So, when the adventuring party sets out on a journey, they decide among themselves which each of them are going to be doing. We have a guide, a watcher, and a hunter. Not all of the roles have to be filled, and not every character must take on a role. The only absolutely necessary role is that of a guide. Pyron, you were asking me a question about something. Sorry,
I need to unmute. That makes you hear me. I just checked, and I still need an armor repair kit, because without an armor repair kit, I can actually not repair my armor.
They do have an armor repair kit that you could get.
Yep, so I would also buy that one, and that means I would have spent 3 gold, and I would be down to 13 gold.
Okay, excellent.
And I'm just saying so that I can add everything. That's all.
That makes sense. So you will need a guide. The guide makes decisions about where to go, what trail to follow. The travel time, I know what the travel time is of this journey, but it can be changed based on how well or poorly the guide performs their job. Guide sets the pace for travel, blah, blah, blah. So the guide is very important. The watcher keeps a lookout for potential enemies, also very important. And the hunter, who forages and hunts for food as they travel. And this is good to actually gain rations and things like that, which is obviously useful for, things like eating, etc. So my question is, the guide uses either a lore wits test or a survival insight test. And using lore represents the character's general knowledge of the world, including roads and terrain. A character using survival relies on knowledge of the natural world to choose the fastest route. So the way to look at it is a character using lore is more likely to sort of stick to a map, whereas a person using survival might be more like Aragorn, like cut across country and then, you know what I mean, like that type of thing to do stuff. So that is what the guide uses. The watcher is going to be making generally notice checks, and the hunter would be making either survival or archery tests. So given that, how would the party like to divvy up these roles?
Would you say we are in either hills or crags at the moment?
You are going to be hills heading to crags, yes.
So just so the party knows, I can choose, instead of rolling as a guide, I can just choose to get a standard success.
Okay. So also relevant to that, since we are not in a settlement underground or in a desert, if I make notice or survival tests, I get a bonus die.
Okay. Sadly, these are desert
not...
crags, I'm afraid. No, I'm just son of a...
Now, my survival's not as strong as my lore, but a bonus die is a bonus die.
Up to how you all want to do it.
Unless someone is like super, super good at guiding, I reckon.
Well, actually...
Actually,
I roll a Kismet on the test... I can double our move. Subtle new paths open their ways to us.
Oh, cool.
And find the guide.
If you roll a 6 on the Kismet?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, it's entirely up to... There's a a definite standard success or a possible shortcut, basically?
That actually doesn't specify that it has to be a guide check either. So that could be like,
Really?
maybe I could be watching and be like, "Oh, over there!
Oh, nice.
I recognize that from a map or
You
something."
mean as the watcher instead of being as the guide?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, because it doesn't specify that. That only applies if I'm the guide.
Okay.
So
I'm just going to say this now. Queddle has no relevant skills to any of this. But he's very supportive of whatever anyone wants to do.
Starting the fire, getting the bedrolls out, general sort of camping
Mhm.
duties.
Well, let's not go too far now.
I will
Tuning the
go
crew.
with- Well, Reginald, I think, might be better for Watcher on this one then, since Lump has basically guaranteed standard success.
I can do Hunter. Because I actually have a skill for it. I can take a standard success automatically, but that would only mean that I don't use a ration. The rest of you would still use one ration. I could try Survival Insight instead, against a difficulty of at least 14. If I then do a great success with that, we would actually gain rations, but so that's
It's possible.
that's the question.
Sometimes you just got to roll the dice,
Yeah,
click the coin.
yeah. I mean, I do have the skill, so it would at least be +2 because of my amazing insight.
Queddle's here to support you.
Yeah, thank
to
you,
give
Will.
you
Thank you.
anything that you need. I think you should go for that one. Risky
Yeah.
strats.
Yeah, I feel supported. Yeah.
So we have Regina as the hunter.
Yes, I'm the hunter.
Sounds like Reginald and Lump. Which of the two of you are taking?
I'm going to be guide.
And I'll be Watcher, yeah.
Lump is the guide. Okay. And the watcher. Okay.
Queddle's the mascot.
In the water.
Weddle's the mascot.
We don't want you going back in the water again. That didn't end well for you last time.
Our emotional support minstrel.
Yes.
Although if there is any emotional support that does need going on, the emotional support minstrel will redirect any such inquiries to Lump. Just the person who knows who's best for the different things,
the classic of the ESM, as we like to call them in the trade. This is a good spot to pause for just a moment as we're about to hit 6 and welcome everybody to episode 359 of Pen and Pixels. You are watching Talisman Adventures, and I am joined as always by the amazing Pyron Jade, Darksaber 2K, Peripheral Mike, and Undeveloped Bruce, playing this game as we continue through the Lady's Tomb. If you like what you see in here, please follow us here on GogCom's Twitch channel. Please make sure to sub to us here on GogCom's Twitch channel, and please check out our individual either channels if we have Twitch channels or YouTube's, Patreons, Twitters, etc., GoFundMe's, all that stuff. Please support us there as well. We will have more D&D related stuff next week with actual D&D. We'll be playing D&D with GOG Ghosts of Saltmarsh next week, but it's Talisman Adventures this week, sponsored by Pegasus Spiele, so welcome everybody. Okay, so let us then talk about what happens as we head out. This trail of kind of miasma that was suggested to you, this sort of this sense of like, it almost feels physical. You can't see it, but it almost has this kind of I guess I would describe it almost as liquidity, like a stickiness in the air that you can almost slightly sense. And so you can use either survival or lore, Lump, to be able to head north. I will note that there is another alternative, which is to use psychic to follow the trail of miasma north. That's not usually available, but in this particular case it is because of the nature of it. That's possible, which I know is something Reginald's good at, but Reginald can't watch and guide, so you have to think about.
That's fine. Instead of making a guide roll, I'm going to choose to take a standard success because of my World Walker background.
Okay. Let's see. Standard success, which is going to be there. Okay, so you travel at full speed for about an hour. And I am going to need you. You're going to get that standard success. But I am going to need you to roll for this. We're going to have you roll. It's not going to count, but it's basically for the Kismet dice that I need this for. So you're rolling this to see what. So I guess it would be 3d6 plus. Let's say 46 total, and that last one, the roll is irrelevant except for the Kismet part.
Okay. 46, 2.
Okay. So for the first hour, nothing happens, except there is something which might happen. I need you to roll for me, please, a 6-sided die now.
Okay. A 3.
Okay. After about an hour's travel, you are all walking along, Hweddle singing a song of full emotional support. When I imagine it's sort of like it's kind of like bardcore, but but very like chill. Like maybe it's like Undertale, like very chill music on the Kruth. I'm guessing. So there's just a little bit of a da 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 da. Very very calm and relaxing. But a pit opens in the hero's path. And you're actually able to stop not long before you get to it. You're sort of walking along, and I would say probably Lump is in front as the guide. And then there's a moment, Lump, where you're like, whoa, because you can see this thing below you. This pit is filled with, as you look down, it seems to be moving. And as you look into it, you can see that it's filled with vile, slithering black and green creatures that seem to represent some kind of hybrids, or they resemble hybrids of snakes and worms. And as you kind of look down, you can see this sort of weird slithering thing. But every so often, you can see a shining object, which is kind of glinting at the bottom of the pit below before it's again engulfed by the writhing mass. While above the pit, a small bird is tweeting and flittering desperately, warbling out this anxious, furtive song. And every so often, the bird looks as if it's going to dive into the pit to kind of grab the prize. But whenever it does, one of the snake worm creatures is like, and reaches up to try to grab it. And the snake worm has these long, hollow-tipped fangs, it looks like, and the bird has to dart back up again. And so when it sees you, the bird flits around and around, whistling urgently. So it's pretty obvious. I mean, you can't understand what it's saying, but it's pretty obvious that it's like it wants whatever's at the bottom of that pit.
Is this a very shiny looking object in this pit?
Very shiny.
A very shiny looking object.
Yes.
Could just be bird. Could be ghoul turned into bird.
Could be magpie.
Could be grave robber. Who knows?
I mean, it's a hole in the ground. Could be a grave. Reginald, is this a grave?
Does it appear dug in an organized manner, and is it the regulation 6 feet deep?
The answer to that, you think, is no. You think that this is probably a larger pit. It looks somewhat kind of rough around the edges. It may have been even almost like a sinkhole type of thing that just kind of caved in. Why there are snakes and worms in it, you have no idea. That's not something you noticed, but no, it's bigger than a grave.
Okay.
Unless it's a huge creature, I guess, but you don't think so.
How many flasks of oil is everyone carrying?
None.
None.
I have none.
All right. Well, never mind then. Carry on.
Good to know.
It's like flitting around.
If this is a ghoul, it's a very annoying ghoul. Reginald has never done anything like this.
I'll look over the edge again. How deep is the pit?
Yes. Never.
You would guess somewhere between 10 and 15 feet, although it's hard to say. It may be that it's, 15 feet, but there's like 2 or 3 feet of snake worms.
Is there anywhere decent to tie a rope to on a knot in the pit?
Not right at the edge, but certainly either companions, or you could probably like nearby place it where you would like, secure it with a stone or something like that, where you could let the rope down.
How big is the stone? Is it bigger than Lump?
It is not bigger than Lump.
No? Okay.
That's bad done.
It's not a tiny
I've got
pebble.
an idea. Reginald, you know how you do that thing that makes it go... If you did that into the pit, I mean, the rest of us would stand back a bit.
That would leave me drained until we rest.
Yeah, and possibly covered in worm snakes. All
We
right,
could
ignore
throw-
me. Carry on.
We could throw a torch down there just to see if it does anything. For science.
Could just go down, getting out the problem.
You could stomp on them.
Don't mind snakes. Don't mind worms.
Maybe they're venomous.
Don't
You
mind
seem to be
poison.
more kind of a snurm.
Oh, a
Snurms
snurm.
Snurms might be poison. Don't mind poison. Drink lots in youth. Don't mind poison.
So we throw a torch and a lump into the pit.
How am I getting out? Don't mind going in.
Didn't you get a rope ladder? Oh no, yeah, stone, right.
Can put ladder down. Can put rope down.
But Lump looks around.
Nothing in ground to secure rope.
And he looks at you three. It's like,
You fall with a lat. Could ask you to pull me up, but also could drag you in. Don't want that.
I could just fly out again, so we could try.
Then, how do others get out?
Well,
Wait,
I could
wait.
just try to pull you out.
Lump puts his arm up in the air. Like, kind of like a... Well, go on then.
I high five you.
Can carry lump?
Okay, I grab Lump's hand and try to just drag him forward.
Weddle is being
no.
very supportive and
No,
might try to help
carry,
lift
lift
a
up.
leg.
Carry lift up.
I hope you would also use your little legs to get out of the pit, by like holding on to the rope. Use your little legs and pull. Or I could push you from behind.
Could work. What tie rope to, though?
That rock.
Small rock.
Maybe there's more of the rock in the ground than we can see. Rocks are sometimes like that.
Can try.
Lump takes his rope off of his arm, sticks his haversacks on the floor and his rope ladder. So I'm leaving the ropes, the haversacks, and the rope ladder on the ground,
Okay.
not in the pit. Okay.
Okay. You toss them into the pit. God damn it.
God damn it!
Okay.
I'm
The
down
Watcher
here
is
with the rope
watching in the
ladder.
meantime.
I ready my javelins.
Lump just looks down at the thing, at the snake pit. What skills do I have? Could I see if there's a way to climb down into the pit? I really want to just kind of throw myself into the pit for dramatic effect, but I have a feeling that a 10-foot drop might not be the best thing for me.
Yeah. So you want to? I'm sorry. What you're asking to see? What specifically?
So I have athletics with a focus in climbing.
Mm-hmm.
So can I see any sections of the wall in front of me where I could essentially handhold my way down to the point where I could let go? So I'm talking, 5 feet or something like that.
You think so? You will not be able to find an area that does not have worms or snakes in it, though. So there is the risk.
So are they on the walls as well?
No, they are in the floor,
No.
but they have
That's fine.
covered the full floor, though.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So but essentially, my plan is to climb down. So I'm going to sort of as if you were getting out of an attic or a loft, right? You know, just like throw yourself out of it.
Right.
So you sort of gently lower yourself down,
Mhm.
and then I'm going to try and find handholds and footholds to sort of lower myself down to the point where I can see the shiny thing, and then try and jump to where the shiny thing is.
Okay. So normally I would say a task like this would be probably like 17, 18, which would be a challenging task.
Mm-hmm.
But because of your using the rope, etc., I would drop this to moderate. So I would say that this is more like
Okay.
difficulty 14 as opposed to 17 to get down
Okay.
there.
So I wasn't planning on using the rope to get down. I was planning on using the rope to get up.
It doesn't look to you like you're going to be able to climb down without the rope very easily. I mean, you could hang on to the edge and kind of like, let yourself down and then just basically drop another 3 or 4 feet, although you'd be landing on snakes when you did that. So you could do that. You don't think that there are any like ladder holds or anything that's easily on the side of this. It is dirt, but it's very packed in, so you don't think you'd have a lot of, if anything, it might crumble away, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Okay. So before lowering myself down, I'm going to turn to Regina and say,
Get rope ready.
and before you can even answer, Lump appears to be lowering himself into the pit.
I get the rope ready. I try to tie it around the rock.
Okay. So I need you to make for me a test. And because you're not using the rope here specifically,
Yep.
letting down means it's going to be a little bit harder. So
Yep.
I think we're thinking about here probably skill-wise, I guess.
So do you want me to explain how I'm climbing down, then you can fit it to a skill?
Sure.
So I'm going to lower myself down to the point where I'm holding onto the ledge, and I'm lowering myself so I'm outstretched, and then I'm just letting go of the ledge. So hopefully there's only, let's say Lump is, 6 foot tall, it's a 10-foot drop, there's only going to be a 4-foot drop.
Let's say
or take.
athletics, but in particular, I think something along the lines of, let's say, agility. So if you had like a focus in climbing or acrobatics.
I do have a focus in
something like that.
climbing. Athletics climbing.
I would allow that. So that would
Yeah.
mean, so you have the skill climbing, yes. You have the focus acrobatics, climbing. You have the skill athletics, yes. You have the focus climbing. So it would be 3d6 plus aspect plus 2.
What's the aspect for athletics?
For athletics in this case would be, I think, agility. That's what I was saying, as opposed to something like brawn. Because you're not trying to make a long jump
totally
here.
fine. 15.
Okay. So 15, and that looks like it's a standard success, I would say. So let's see if that even makes it. Well, the task really is a higher difficulty level than that.
That's fair.
So that means, what it means is you do get to the ground. The effect is that you do, however, hit a couple of snakes who are not happy about it. So
I assumed as much.
let's see what we've got here. Okay. So you were going to take, the good news is that you were only going to take 2 points of damage. This ignores armor, by the way. So you're going to take 2 points of damage, which brings you down to 28 of 30. That is not the biggest problem.
Okay.
The bigger problem is I need you to make a fortitude test, please.
Yep.
This is using metal as your aspect. So if you-
Metal.
but you're making a fortitude test to resist, because you can feel this kind of hot, burning sensation as you are bitten by one of these.
Is this poison?
Yes.
Cool. I have a focus in poison.
Excellent.
So I'm going to add 2 to my roll.
Okay.
That'll be a 17 and a 6 on the Kismet die,
17 and a 6, okay.
which means I regenerate 1d6 life.
Oh, very nice.
So
don't you do that?
let me just do that real quick, just in case it's a 1, which it's not. Excellent.
Okay, so now you're up to 30.
Benefits of being a troll, people. Benefits of being a troll.
Absolutely. Okay, So you make it down there. So now the good news is you're now down at the bottom. These creatures are... The bird above, as you, the other three of you are up there looking down anxiously at Lump. The bird is like, is like whistling frantically. And Lump, you're now down there being surrounded by a bunch of angry snakes. And every so often you can see this sort of glint below the mass.
Immediately go for the glint.
Okay. So what I will have you do here is I will have you do, I think I'll just have you do an agility test here, actually.
Okay. Just a straight agility test.
Just straight agility, I think, yes. Actually, wait. Don't do that yet. I might have you do sleight of hand. Hold on. Hold on just a moment. Although sleight of hand would require you... Yeah, no, I think just straight agility. Yes.
Just pure agility test.
Yes.
So 3d6 plus my agility. 3d6. What is my agility again? It's 3. Hooray. So I can spend a light. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can spend a light fate to roll 4d6. Correct.
Right. You can roll an extra one. That's right. Which might be a good time to do it.
I'm going to do that, and I'm going to knock down my light fate to 1 instead of 2.
Okay.
And I will drop the. I can't drop the 2, can I? Because that's the Kismet.
Right.
I will drop the 3.
So we're talking a 16.
16.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you are able to snatch it just from the snake as it went like this. So now you have the ring. Now you just need to get up.
Oh, it's a ring. Excellent stuff.
It is a ring, a simple gold ring.
Cool. I
You have this desire to put it on and
behind
disappear from view. I'm just kidding. No. Damn it. No, that's not.
That would make love super overpowered.
Once I have secured like the rope ladder thing,
Right.
I will like let it slide over the edge of the pit.
Okay, so the rope ladder, falls down. That's going to make climbing up a lot easier than it was coming down, but you are going to need to still make a check to get out Lump. So again, it's going to be I think we said acrobatics and then climbing focus. Athletics with a focus in climbing. Yeah.
That was it. So athletics climbing. So it's that plus the agility is the aspect for athletics.
Correct for this. Yes.
They go 18, and they've got double 4.
Yep. So you, with this great success, just, scurry right up. You are not bitten again. And in fact, you scurry up in such a way that you were able to pull the rope ladder behind you with a flourish if you want. And then just look all dramatic when that happens. And when you do this, the bird whistling frantically comes over and gets close enough that it actually perches on your shoulder and is sort of looking down at the ring that you're holding and is kind of whistling and tilting its head looking at the ring.
I immediately give the bird the ring.
Okay. So he picks up the ring in his beak and he
Lump is a simple man.
Looks very happy, and then he sort of tilts his head at all of you and doesn't do anything other than having the ring in its beak.
Is he staying on my shoulder?
At the moment.
Okay. I start to slowly move and offer it a bit of ration as well.
Okay. So it kind of, with the ring in its beak, kind of looks at the ration and looks at you, and then looks at the ration and then looks at you.
So I'll put a bit of ration on my shoulder next to the bird, and then just leave it to see what it does. Presumably, the rope ladder is being not covered in snakes right now, and someone's.
No, you picked it up. I mean, that's what the great success was. You were able to.
Okay,
cool.
Cool.
Excellent. Yeah.
I had this horrible feeling. It was like, oh no, we've given them an exit.
I was going to say, in the meantime, all of you are covered in snakes. Take 12 points. No. So it kind of, looks at you again, sort of reaches down and then sort of pecks slightly at the food, but it doesn't open its beak because of that. So he sort of looks for a moment more as if waiting, and then.
Can I just extend my hand to see if it would sit in my hand rather than my shoulder?
Yeah, it does that.
Okay. I'm going to hold it sort of... I'm assuming we're kind of in a group at the moment. I'm going to hold it in front of me and be like, special ring.
How do you know? You just gave it to the bird.
Shh. I'm talking to the bird.
You talking to the bird?
You talk to hedges.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Birds have ears.
The bird nods.
They don't.
Bird has ears.
Hey,
Bird had holes in its head.
Juan, I
not
would like
ears.
to ask the bird, is the bird a ghoul?
And the bird sort of tilts its head and then slowly nods up and down.
All right.
Hmm.
Should we,
Oh, I'm
should
sorry.
we
Did you say?
embalm it?
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Did you say ghoul? It
Said
does not.
ghoul, yeah.
It does not nod its head at that. Sorry.
Oh,
Beg your
sorry.
pardon.
Is
But you get the impression it's not a bird. It's definitely something else.
are you
Definitely
a,
get the
a-
impression
a
it's not a bird now.
girl? Like a female bird?
What sounds
not
like
bird?
a ghoul?
It shakes its head in a non-bird
Are
like
you
way.
a lul? Are
you
you
a
a
fool?
rule? A hool?
Does it rhyme with ghoul?
It nods. It shakes its head.
We're getting very mixed signals from you.
Sorry. Shakes his head. It's the wrong thing. I misheard that. Sorry. But Jeff
Are
definitely
you
not
a
a bird.
human? Are you a human?
Again, shakes its head no.
Well, at least that.
Are you a gnome?
Shakes its head no.
Forest folk. Forest folk carry sticks, speak to plants and animals. Druid.
Shakes
You
its
a
head no.
druid. Out of ideas.
Is that your ring?
And it nods.
Are you sure?
It nods even more.
Are you stuck?
Sorry, what did you ask them?
Are you stuck?
And it sort of nods, looking vaguely sad for a bird,
How can help?
and kind of looks up at you and doesn't react. Maybe doesn't know.
Are you a grave robber?
And it sort of tilts its head and looks at you, and just kind of
Not yet.
That wasn't a really good denial, you know, bird.
bird just sort of looks at you like, what?
And see, that's why I prefer talking to hedges.
I am going to take the bird over to Alette and ask her if she'll carry the bird on her shoulder.
And she says, "Oh, but when you go to hand it over to Alette, the bird sort of kind of hops around a little bit, and then taking the ring in its beak, takes off and flies south, you note, back towards where Sepulchre was. But as you go, each of you gain a light fate."
I look at Alette. Don't take it personally. It's just a stupid bird.
And she kind of looks thoughtfully and she says, "Oh, I wonder." But she doesn't say anything else. Okay, making sure. I
Bye,
have-
bird.
and it flies off with the ring. Okay. So, have not needed the Watcher yet. All right, guide. I need another roll here, please. Survival or lore, or I guess psychic. Or you could just do the standard success
I
thing.
will choose
It's up to you.
take
Remember
standard
that.
success.
One quick note. One quick note. When you get a higher success, it can sometimes speed you up. There is also the risk that you can be slowed down if you fail, though. So
Yep.
I'm just letting you know that one way or the other.
So I'm guaranteeing we're not slowed down.
Okay, sounds good. So I just need you to
So-
roll then for the just for the Kismet die thing again.
So what do you need me to roll for that again? Sorry.
I think it was 3d6, and then the last die is the Kismet die, so 46. I think is what I
So
You
said.
could just roll a 1d6 though, couldn't
They
he?
can I just roll one.
I guess you
D6 for
could.
the-
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Kismet.
doing this thing about it being like
Oh, good. It's a 1.
Right,
Excellent.
excellent.
I've given you
Okay.
that fate.
exactly what we
Should have rolled 3.
I should have.
Then it would have been the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Roll20. Just what I wanted.
Good work.
Should have learned a very long time ago, Mike. Don't listen to the rest of your team.
Look, I'm trying, all right? I'm trying. You're just all so nice. I can't. I get sucked in every time.
Okay. So, so when you're after about another hour or so,
A swarm of eagles appear, led by a small bird.
exactly, each one of them holding a ring. No. So, as you head over the hills, and Huedel, you notice that it is getting considerably more hilly. You know, the further you get, probably Lump notices that. I mean, you all notice it, but it feels more crag-like, if you will, and it seems to be getting closer to that as you go. But as you move along, you are traveling along, and after about another hour or so, Watcher, I need you, please, for me, to make a test. I will need the Watcher to make a Notice Wits test, unless you have something super awesome that allows you to do this at a standard success or something like that.
No, I just get my bonus die for this.
Okay.
Nice.
Do I smell anything funny?
That's so gonna be your default question.
Roll the notice. I'll tell you.
Well, I get a bonus with spell.
Oh, I see. No, I would say not then.
One day.
Yeah, someday.
Okay.
So let's
Drop
see.
the 3 from that for a 20. Yeah, 20 no doubles.
Okay, so a 20 no doubles. Okay. There is something that you can hear, kind of snuffling Reginald and like something growling and snuffling and snorting. It's not super loud, but you do hear it, and it's kind of over the rise ahead of you. So you could look up and around to try to see what might be there, but you definitely hear something, and you do smell a little bit of something, but it's hard to place it. It's kind of a sickly smell, almost.
There's a creature just over the ridge. That was the dinner bell ringing.
Are you just a creature? You got any more information?
It goes like this.
Pig.
So
Cool.
Huedel or Lump, with their knowledge of the crag area, know what sort of creatures would be around here that might make snorting noises?
That's an excellent question.
I know,
You don't-
full of them.
Yeah, you don't think so, Huedel. You not specifically, except maybe like a wild boar. Those are definitely things which can sometimes make noises. But from the way that Reginald is describing it, it seems bigger than that. At least bigger than most boars you know of.
No, I don't think it's normal. I think we should proceed with caution. Ghouls
Sounds
first.
like a good idea. I'm not the guide.
Oh, trolls first. Minstrels after.
I am gonna try and move past this snuffling creature.
I
So
actually need you not to make this roll. The Watcher is the one who's going to determine if you can avoid this thing or not.
Oh, I see.
So-
Okie
So because of the standard success. So basically,
I'll
Reginald,
snap
it's
out.
up to you. I should rephrase this. You could add a couple of extra hours to go way out of your way to avoid it. But if you want to, as you go up, there's not a lot of sort of cover as you get more rocky and craggy, either to the left or the right. There's a lot of sort of exposed area. So you'd have to go a long way without being visible to this thing. So clearly it has not noticed you yet because the sound is not getting any nearer.
Yeah.
If you're able to identify it and see it and all that, Reginald, then everything else you folks were about to do can work. But so yeah.
In that case, I guess it's going to take too long to go around. Looks like ridge too steep in both directions. Don't know how long it'd take to find another way up. I'll try and stick my head over the top and see if I can see what it is or where it is. And then I'll just...
Yeah, exactly. I need you to make a survival test for me. This is using wits as the aspect.
Okie dokie. 1 second. Cross-reference a couple of things. And we're still not in a settlement underground or in the desert, right?
Correct. That's right.
Excellent. In that case, I get a bonus die, and I have survival skill.
Excellent.
I will drop that first 2, which would make it a 15.
A 15. Yep, I think
double
that's
fives.
enough.
With
So
a double 5.
you see something very odd, and I'm going to put it on the stream for everyone to see, Reginald. This is what you note. It is, for want of a better term, a big, white, furry creature. It looks a little smaller than a bear, but it has claws like swords. And as you look over the top, you can see that its claws and teeth and some of its fur are stained red with something, but you could take a guess about what it probably is. It's not red paint, that's for sure. Yeah. And you can see it's like, and every so often it like paws at the ground and then like paws at its face, and every so often you can see it kind of claws its own fur, and then it reaches out and then it looks. There are a couple times where you can see a few like bones scattered about it. Like there is no creature within 2 miles of it, because obviously everything is flown away, but it is like, it seems like it is clearly I don't want to use the term distressed, but I guess I would say like angry about something. Like it's looking around at this kind of pulling with its claws, and then every so often. And at one point, thank you for the follow, Happy Troll. Yeah, this is not a happy troll in this case. At one point, it kind of, and it whips its head in your direction, Reginald.
I duck back down.
Okay. And there's a moment's pause where you're like, and you start hearing, and it like apparently goes back to what it was doing.
What was it?
Lump in white fur
Oh, nice.
and a lot of blood.
Oh.
Plushy lump.
Fluffy
Fluffy lump.
No, fluffy bloody lump. Not something you want to. Do we, from the description, does anybody recognise what that creature might be?
Not unless lore might help.
You're welcome to try it, except that you're pretty positive you've never seen anything like this. It almost looks like an amalgam of creatures, actually. Like if you mixed a bear and a yeti and a demon but it's weird. You've never seen anything like this.
I don't suppose you say anything like that, Reginald. Like it looks like a weird mashup of creatures.
Sorry, I shouldn't have assumed, but that was what Reginald sees.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how Reginald would describe it. It's got like the paws of a bear, but the fangs of a troll or a boar. It's got ears like a wolf. Stands on its back legs.
Maybe ghoul too?
I'm not asking it.
No.
We could get some of that embalming liquid and do a flyby.
What, we
Spill
run
some in
past
his
and
mouth.
yell, here, drink this.
Well, do a little squirt. Make a shout. Someone goes, "Oh!" Open your mouth, and it'll go. Ah! And then
Are there any dead animals near us at the minute?
There were dead animals around it, for sure. You don't see any dead animals near here. I should note, by the way, that because, Reginald, you've been able to see and identify this thing, you might be able to trace a course around it without taking hours. The only risk to doing, so you don't have to encounter this thing, you think. The only risk is it is possible, because you saw it sniffing, it could pick up your trail and follow you later, but you think you can make it where it's unlikely, but not a guarantee, that wouldn't happen. So you might be able to avoid encountering this thing altogether. There is a risk it might pick up your scent, but again, you think that's not likely, although possible. You could also just choose to encounter it. It's up to you.
I think I could lead us around it. Looks like it hunted by scent, though it thought it caught a whiff of me, but went back to... I don't know what it was doing. It seemed uncomfortable in its skin. But we only have a bit of embalming fluid, and we may have more needful use for it. Like me.
True.
Well, we got 3 doses, so, we gotta use the dose sometime. See how it works. And if it is a ghoul, they might have some useful information about which way the old Robberoos went. Because we don't know.
But if we assume it's a ghoul, they went this way.
Oh yeah, that's a good point, actually.
I think I can lead us past.
Could find food, soak food with fluid, throw food.
Why are we trying to make the angry animal happy?
Could be
No.
cool.
If the transformed ghouls drink some of it, it'll turn them back into ghouls. That's what the caretaker said.
But if it doesn't, we've just told it, hey, these people equal food.
Reginald, you said that there were like dead animals lying around the thing?
Well, bones and a lot of blood.
Yeah, look, did you know about bones? So did the bones look fresh? Because if there are also old bones there, we can safely assume it's not a ghoul because it's been around since before the grave robbers came by.
Well, I didn't get too good of a look, because I had to duck back down, but it was covered in blood. Meaning it's not cleaned itself.
Yeah, but still, like, if it ate every day for like 2 weeks, there might be a lot of bones, and it also ate today, so there's blood. So if there are old bones, not a ghoul.
I don't know what you think about me, but I'm not that good at aging bones at a glance.
Yeah, I did think that about you. That's why I was saying that.
I have bad news.
You're now gonna tell me that you can't age the bones at a glance.
I'd need to pick them up and have a look.
But I mean, the ghouls at the graveyard. They turned into funny animals, happy animals. This is not a happy animal.
This is not a fun, happy animal from the look of it.
So I think we just walk on by. If it's still there after we have gotten the talisman back.
I mean, the hope is... Go ahead.
Do they start turning back as soon as we have the talisman and move it towards the major graveyard necropolis thing, or does it like take time? Does anybody know how this works?
Guessing, but I would guess that we would have to replace the talisman before any effects would reverse.
Oh.
Or we may have to go back to the temple again.
Apparently nobody else is living out here and the thing is eating animals. And a lot of animals eat other animals, so I don't think there's anything that concerns us.
This is true.
Should avoid.
I'm just here to support whatever you want to do. Let's go round.
Yep.
Okay. So you're going to try to chase your way around.
So what we'll do, Chweddle, is you go that way, playing a lovely song as loud as you can, and we'll just head off in the other direction.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go round.
All right. So you trace your way around it carefully, and it keeps doing this thing on a number of occasions. It's like, where it's like sniffing and then looks, and you have these several terrifying examples where it looks and you can just see muscles rippling along its arms and legs. This thing is beefy. But it does not apparently pick up, at least from what you can tell, your scent. Who knows whether that will stay the case? You won't know this for sure for a little while, but in any case. And you're able to make you go ahead. Yep.
Can I also see it now?
Yes. You can see
Can
it
I
now.
try to identify it?
Sure. You can make the same wits survival test that I think I had Reginald do.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
Yeah, survival wits is the aspect.
Yeah, that is. I do have survival, so I can use my wits. 3d6 plus all my wits.
All my wits. Every wit.
13 with all my wit.
You don't think you've ever seen anything like this, Regina? It looks like a big Yeti bear troll thing. Like you've never seen anything like this. Also,
that's fine
one other thing that's odd, a white furred creature is typically something you might expect to see in like northern climes. So that also seems odd here, which is not, let me emphasize, to make you think, it's been transported from the north. The point is, this thing does not look like it belongs in this area, period. Like it's just there.
So it could be like a fairy creature from Regina's point of view.
Yeah, at least something that is not native to this region. And there are a lot of bones and blood, as Reginald said.
Okay, then it's... Regina is keeping her thoughts to herself.
Okay. All right. As you continue to make your way around, I need another check from the guide, please.
I will choose to make a standard success.
Okay. Then I will just need that Kismet die roll, please.
Okay, I'm gonna roll.
So just a 1d6
3
is fine.
dice this time.
Oh, you are? Okay. See, now you changed.
6. It's a 6.
See, this is what happens.
Which means
this is
I
called
gain a
player
light fate.
conditioning.
Yep. It's psychologically speaking, this is trauma, and I can't heal anything, so that's fine.
I need you to roll a 6-sided die for me, please.
A 6-sided die. It is rolling the dice. ... Also a 6. Wow, good lord.
Okay. So as you're walking along, you're now about 3 hours in, and if you had to guess, you're not 100% sure, but the miasma trail and everything that you're continuing to pursue has maybe even gotten slightly stronger as you went along. So you all think you're on the right track. But as you're moving along the road, you come across a thin human who is just sort of sitting by the side of the road. His knees are drawn up, his arms are around his knees, and he's kind of like, like this. And he looks quite obviously sad and just sitting there. Doesn't even have a weapon or anything else like that.
You all right, mate?
Not much.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave you be then.
He nods. All right. Everyone else does.
Oh, mate.
You all like run at double speed. Like that.
Lump just looks
Do you know,
back. You okay?
He says, "No. Well, you see what happened was, you don't want to hear my story."
Lump
That's
wants to
true.
hear it. No,
That's
he really
true.
does. He's very good at these sort of bits of
But I
advice. He
will
wants to hear it.
I love that that's happening literally at the same time. You're like, "That's true. No, I don't want to hear it." But I was like, he really wants to.
I want to hear it.
He
but
says,
I will.
I was wandering by with my cart, and I was minding my own business when a bunch of warriors in shiny armor came by, and snap, I turned into a mule, I did. He just wandered right by, and suddenly I was a mule. And he kind of looks at all of you, like, and then he says, well, I realized I was happy. for the first time in my life, I could eat grass and I could like walk along the road and no one would tell me what to do. And if they did, I could ignore them because I'm a mule. Mules don't pay attention to anyone. And I was doing well. And it was like that for a couple hours, eating grass. And I let them take the goods in my cart and went on my way. And then I came upon a traveling witch. And without even asking me, she just turned me back into a man and left. All I want is to be a mule again. A happy grass-eating mule.
If you want to be a happy something, don't move into the direction we came from.
What? Why? Are they turning people into mules back there?
No, there's a thing eating other things.
Turning people into
Angry
dinner.
creature.
Oh. Well, I suppose I'll just sit here then. Barno's always drawn the lowest lot in life. And here I am, finally, with a vista of grass fields and muledom in front of me, just taken away. He kind of
I'm
shakes his head
sure
sadly.
you will find someone to make an ass of you again.
And he kind of looks up at you and... You think so? Completely ignoring the joke. You think so? Well, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't mind being a donkey, maybe. A horse would do, except people would want to ride me all the time, and that wouldn't be good. I don't want to be... I just want to be a free mule. Mule
I've
free.
heard toads are very happy.
He nods.
You know, it's not that I'm like completely opposed to happy people, and so I don't really want to take away your dream of being a mule or a donkey. But you know what people usually do with mules or donkeys when they find them? Like they put them to work.
Well, but I'm a clever mule, see? I'm a mule, but with all my human wits, so I could avoid them. Well, no one comes up here by the crags. I just wander away and find some grass, and, well, there you'd be, all the livelong day. And if anyone came too close, well, I'd kick 'em. You don't want to get kicked by a mule.
You know, like, we are people, like 4 of them, and we just came along, and you also said that more people came along before us. So
Right.
it's not, you can't really say that no people are coming along.
Well, but that's because I'm here on the side of the road. If I were a mule, I'd leave the road behind. I'd go to a place where people wouldn't find me. Perhaps I'd go to the low hills. Donkey, I think they call them, or something like that. It would be worth it.
What was your name again, friend?
My name is Barno. At least
All right,
that's
Barno.
my human name.
Right.
You do have a donkey
Barno the
name?
mule.
Yeah, my donkey name was Hee-haw! Or something like that. I don't
Of
remember
course.
how it's pronounced exactly.
And now you're a human, right?
Yeah, as you can see.
Yeah, just wanted making sure. It's just about impressions.
And he nods.
I think we're all looking at Lump now for a bit of lumpy wisdom.
Is Barno sat on something? Can I sit next to him?
Just on the ground, his knees drawn up, arms around his knees.
Gonna sit next to him. Be like,
Why won't be mule?
Well, you see, when I was, I was a merchant, and people were always asking me to buy things, and I had to sell them to make a living, but I never really knew what I should charge, and I always felt like I was getting taken advantage of, and maybe I gave it to them, or if I didn't, then they would always look as if I was robbing them, and maybe I was. It was too much stress, and besides that, I don't really have a family to speak of. I didn't have any responsibilities except to keep myself alive, and doing it as a merchant, as a human, but when I was a mule, well, I felt strong, and I was stubborn, and I could eat grass, and there's plenty of grass around here. And for the first time in my life, I realized that I could be happy just on my own. Just me and, well, my hooves on the grass below my feet. That's the simple life right there.
Long time ago, Lump had people around him. They gave him orders and asked him to do not nice things. things. Taking orders was always something Lump did. That's what he knew. Until one day, he decided didn't want that life anymore. Wanted to be free. Wanted to eat grass and roam free and be stubborn. Left that life. Was hard. Met Weds. Weds helped me. Met others. Did what was good. Did what I was good at. Can be good at picking things up, smashing things, helping people. Never did that before until I made that decision. No need to be mule to do something different. Just need to believe you can do it. And I believe you can do it as a human.
And he kind of, looks at you and, well, I don't know. And Ilette comes over and says, I feel bad for you, I do, but, Lump's right. You can do this as a human, too. There's no reason you can't. And Bardo kind of strokes his chin, and then he's like, well, how about this? What if I follow you lot, and I can pull my weight? I mean, I can carry things, or I can, stuff like that. And then if something happens, well, and you need someone to be changed, moved into something, well, I'll offer to do it. Maybe you run into like a wizard or a sorcerer or maybe a mystic who wants to turn me into something, and I could do that. See? And that way I do something as a human now, but maybe I get to be a mule later.
Could work. Easy fixes always have catches though, and magic can be tricky. Always has a price. Come with us and see if you want to do anything else. If we find someone who can help you, that's your choice.
And he nods slowly, and then he stands up and brushes himself off, and he says, well, I will, and thank you kindly. I appreciate it. All right. Well, anyone got anything for me to carry?
Lump immediately hands him an empty haversack.
Oh, right. And he puts the sack over his shoulder. He's like,
Not yet. Will soon.
All right. Sounds good then. And you...
Weddle gives him the manacles.
So he tosses the manacle.
Oh, no,
so at first he
no,
thinks about putting the manacles on his wrist, and then he decides that's not a good idea, and he tosses them in the sack.
We don't do that here.
He's like, what kind of a party are you running? So he tosses the manacle in the sack, which means that I need another test from you, Lump, just for the Kismet die here.
Just for the Kismet die. Gonna roll 3 of them shiny 6-sided dice. It's a 4.
Okay. All right, that's a standard success. Nothing really happens. Another hour progresses. Let me have another test from you, please.
It's a 4.
That is not necessarily what is needed. So what happens is you lose. Okay, but you didn't have a 1 on the Kismet. Because you had, because you have a standard success. I take that back.
Yep.
Right, standard success. But that Kismet die was not a fail. Was not a 1. That's what I wanted to check. Okay,
yeah,
so
Kismet die was not 1.
4 hours in. Let's have you do another test.
So this is standard success, and this is just for the Kismet die.
Correct. Yep.
It's a 6. I'll take that light feint.
Okay. So you're getting right near, not far away now from the crags themselves. You can just see, kind of coming, closing in. And I need you to roll a 6-sided die for me again, please.
A 6-sided die. A 4. I like my 4s tonight, don't I?
Okay. You hear the party here is a group of you, as if from a great distance, a tiny yapping bark. And you hear this kind of, and it really does sound like a yep, 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 but it's loud. and it seems to be coming from just over the hill in front of you again. Yep. And then you hear something else. You hear a doof, 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 like something is getting hit on the ground. And it has this kind of wooden, like... Yep. Almost sounds like angry yipping. Yep.
Can I identify where the noise is coming from?
In front of you, over the hill. And this is something that this does not require just the watcher. Any of you could try to like find more info, theoretically. But it's definitely coming in front of you, not far away.
If it involves the watcher, I guess I should roll for that.
You can. Yeah, you don't have to, is my point, but for this one, but you can. So you need to be able to see it to do it, though. So, Reginald, you can pretty much, sneak over do one of your hill test checks first, if you want it.
Hat on a stick first.
Hill peek.
Yeah.
Quick, do a hill peek.
So what you see is, and I don't have a picture for this, more's the pity, a giant squirrel the size of a bear, and in its paws is a large silver nut, like an acorn. And you can see every so often it goes, yip, and then it like hits the nut on the ground, and it then like stares at it very angrily and yip, like angrily yepping at it, and then starts hitting it again on the ground.
I lower myself back down and return to the party.
So, what is it?
What did you see?
Another stupid human.
It was... And I hold up the bottle of embalming fluid to show I've not been drinking it. It was a giant squirrel with a large silver acorn.
Juan would like to go and have a look himself.
Regina, absolutely. Yes, please.
You all see this thing. It is like wrapping away, and then it looks over its shoulder, and it has this... Like, it sees you. It doesn't, like, attack at all or anything. It just is, like... And, like, holds onto its acorn, and then looks at you, and it's like... And then it starts slamming the acorn on the ground again.
It has a giant silver acorn.
I think we can safely say this probably didn't start as a giant squirrel.
Funny magic.
Have I ever seen something like that before?
No. You've definitely seen
I do
squirrels
like
that
it.
are normal size, but you've never seen a huge squirrel with a silver acorn.
What if the silver acorn caused it?
If Lump is allowed to keep the humans, I want to keep the squirrel.
I also vote for keeping the squirrel.
Yeah, that's
I can't make a compelling argument against this.
I like that you're so supportive. Come on, Squirrel, let's talk to the
I
squirrel.
do have a question before we do anything, though. You said that there was a tiny barking. Specifically, you used the word bark to describe it. Is the barking coming from the squirrel?
So this is the weird thing. It's like yipping. There is a bark coming, but Lump, as you look over, you think the bark is coming from the nut. So the squirrel is yipping.
This is great.
The nut is barking, you think.
Did we pass through like a mushroom patch or something? Is this? Are we
I've lived in mushroom patches. This is not what happens there.
Are we okay? Are we doing all right now? How many fingers have I already got?
I'm trying to remember how much of that embalming liquid did I drink?
Yeah, just like Lump's like freaking out. Okay.
I didn't even know I wanted a giant silver acorn.
Barno, who now has come up and like looks over, and he turns and he says, "There ain't no squirrel that looks like that. That's too big to be a squirrel." And he looks at you and nods.
I pat him on the head. Thank you.
Right. He looks at Alette with a big smile. Alette's kind of like...
Alette's like, you don't do that with this pie.
Although I do...
Insightful for a peasant. Most would be like, demon attack!
Yeah.
Or run away.
I take
This is
out
a
my acorn.
transformed. This is what a peasant is used to being transformed. Yes.
He has insight.
I take out my acorn.
Okay.
And and I look back at the party like, I'm gonna approach it. Maybe it wants to trade.
I have another acorn if it's a good bargainer.
Okay, I take that other acorn as well, but I take it like in the other hand so that you can only see one. Okay. And then I slowly approach the squirrel and extend the palm up like with an acorn on it. Hi, squirrel.
And it holds the nut back, and now for sure, from inside the nut, you hear whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah, that's gonna stop if there's no air hole, so not my problem. Okay.
Wow. There it is, the most evil action any party member in any of our campaigns has ever taken.
Yep. Sorry, Regina, what's your alignment? Because I think we might need to revisit that real quick.
I don't have a good alignment, if that's the question.
Robbing, dog hating.
He certainly don't anymore.
I didn't put the dog into the acorn.
That's fair.
Have we ever questioned why Regina, this amoral sprite who has been removed from her grove, is going around looking for talismans?
I'm not looking for talismans.
You keep finding them.
Yeah. But I've not kept a single one. I've not kept a single one.
Since we've been with you. You're just like, I've not kept a single one. I've just got this collection.
So I like, do you want to trade? And I like hold out my acorn.
And it like stares at you as if you're like, it's like, but it then in a very, well, humanoid, non-squirrel-like maneuver goes.
But my acorn you can eat. That other acorn is not opening.
And it nods.
I've got an acorn you can eat.
And it kind of stares. And from the nut.
Also, my acorn is not barking.
The squirrel and kind of looks at you and then looks down at the nut and holds its nut even tighter, so to speak.
I've got a very tasty acorn here.
And it sort of is kind of like shakes its head no again.
What do you want for your acorn?
And it looks confused, and then it opens its mouth and it's like, and it can't. Kind of clicks and.
Do you want to open your acorn?
And it nods.
Can I help? I'm good at opening things.
Looks quite nervous.
Look.
We can transform it back.
I don't want to transform the acorn back, so shut up.
No, the squirrel. The squirrel's massive.
Magical, so shatter won't work.
Are you a squirrel?
And it looks down at itself and then.
Oh God, are you a human?
And it nods.
Okay, well
seriously.
That counts in your favor. Okay, I go back to the party.
What did she say? Did she say something about humans not being in her face? What was that?
Humans are in my favor. Humans are in my favor.
Okay.
Okay, the squirrel is not a squirrel, so maybe we could put some embalming fluid on my acorn and then I just gift my acorn to the squirrel.
Why do we need to turn the squirrel back?
Because then it doesn't need its nut anymore.
But we get the talisman, take that back, the squirrel goes back to normal.
The squirrel might be gone by then.
If the squirrel stays here, Also, what's making the noise?
What was
The nut-
barking?
And is
The
what's
giant nut
barking-
is barking, and the squirrel wants to open the nut.
But is the nut barking, or is there an animal in the nut that's not
I didn't
an
ask.
animal? Is it not an animal? Is it also a ghoul?
You could try
What's-
asking. The
what's
acorn might
not a
answer
ghoul?
you.
What's not
Okay.
a ghoul anymore? Are you a ghoul?
Okay.
And he looks at Weddle. Am I
Okay.
a ghoul?
I
No,
go
you're a
back to
troll.
I go back to the squirrel. Is there a dog in your acorn?
And so the squirrel gives you kind of a like a sort of confused, as if the way you would describe it is it's a long story face, which is going to be hard to get from.
You know, if there is a dog in your acorn, you really should get it out.
And the squirrel,
Can I help you get the dog out of the acorn? I'm not interested in the dog, I swear.
sort of leans away from you again.
Oh, come on, you tried to open it, yet you didn't open it.
And then it, like, as if remembering, turns and like slams it on the ground again to zero effect.
You are shaking the dog. That's all you're doing.
Okay, Lump's gonna walk forwards to Regina's side with sort of non-threatening hand motions, like "Hello, giant squirrel."
You transformed? Mm-hmm.
He's talking to you, squirrel, not me.
Yeah, I'm talking to the squirrel.
You wanna be not transformed? Alright. Come here. Be nice. Come here.
And it kind of like
Don't.
Is it quite close to me now?
I would say not quite like, I mean, it's trying to give itself range that it can leap back. It is as big as you, by the way, Lump.
Yeah, I imagine it was massive. I'm going to turn to Reginald, who I assume is still over the crest of the hill, and be like,
I'm just sort of sitting on the crest enjoying the show.
"Yeah, that's fine."
Next to Alette on one side and Barneau on the other, just sort of
So, quick side note: before walking towards the squirrel, I'll have asked Reginald, "Can I use some of the embalming fluid if this works?" If it's got 3 doses, can I use a dose on the squirrel to see what happens?
I suppose.
All right, so I've got the bottle of embalming fluid. That's sorted out that continuity error. So I'm gonna basically try and feed the squirrel some of the embalming fluid.
Okay.
Magic from big graveyard. Magic from big graveyard.
So the squirrel kind of
Might-
comes up
might help.
and right.
Yep.
Right.
I'm being quite careful because I don't want to give it too much of a dose. So I'm
Right.
just giving it a normal dose, and then I'm bringing the bottle back.
And it kind of takes a little bit, basically enough for 1 dose. So you have 2 doses left. And then it and it shrink, and the fur disappears except around the beard, and ends up as you are facing a cloaked dwarven woman. If you had to guess, a cloaked dwarven woman of some age. And as she reaches sort of her normal size, she kind of looks and then, well done. I didn't know what you were going to do with that, but well done. Well, that's good. That's good, that stuff that you have. I'd like to know more about it. But, yes, your reward. Yes. And she kind of looks around. She says, well, and she goes over to the nut, which is now obviously very large compared to her, right? I mean, and she says, she leans down and she says, now remember, the next time you walk into a witch's hut, you're going to get exactly the same thing. You're just lucky. And she turns around and turns back to you and she says, this was, well, someone who decided to walk into my house without leave. And I would have paid him for it too, if it wasn't for the fact that, well, these men in armor, shining armor, came by, and there was something wrong with them, and I don't know what it was. The next thing I know, I was a squirrel, and this thing was a nut, or inside a nut. Well, you can have the nut. You crack it, you do what you want with him, but make sure that he doesn't go back into my hut again. And that's assuming that he's still there. You hear, whoop, whoop. Oh, fine. Something's inside there. And she says, but that's all you need to know from me, because that's all well, and she kind of wriggles her nose, and then she realizes she's doing it.
Hello, Mrs. Witch. Can you turn humans into animals?
No, I can only trap humans that walk into houses where they're not meant to be. Those humans that walked past us were transforming, though, themselves, other things. They looked really angry. They're only probably about an hour up that way, I would guess.
How many of them were there?
Oh, 6, 7 maybe? I don't know exactly, but there were a few. At least more than a handful. I would have taken care of them if I hadn't been a squirrel by the time they left.
Sounds like the Redeemers.
Yes.
Angry armor transforming people into not people.
Barno comes over and says, Miss, I don't suppose you can turn people into mules, can you? I just said I don't turn things in. Do you want me trapped too? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, miss. I, kind of backs off. And she says, all right. Well, good luck to you. They're up there. Thanks for releasing me, and enjoy this nut. And she rolls the nut. When you hear the whoop, whoop, as it like rolls towards you, and then just comes to a stop in front of Lump.
My nut!
And she kind of hobbles off at quite a pace, actually.
So I look over to Regina. Like,
we're gonna have to open it.
Yes, I'm gonna open it. I'm open the nut.
I'll help.
I will need, yes, I was going to say, I will need an athletics test to open this thing.
Can I also use Tinker?
I don't think this is a tinker. What did you be using tinker for?
I have Tinker with a focus in take apart.
Tinker has Tinker and then Brawn for taking an item apart, and I also have a Tinker set.
No, this is
Did I
not
just sport?
This is not a mechanical acorn. This thing is this thing needs to be cracked with some strength.
Okay.
So, then the strength test you want?
So it'd be an
Or what was
athletics
it?
test using
I do
brawn
have
as the
athletics.
aspect.
Okay.
Athletics using brawn as the aspect.
You could each give it a try if you want. I don't really think you can assist if Regina's doing it, unless you want to crush Regina while Regina's crushing the acorn. I think that's probably not a great idea.
Should we both give it a go, like from either side?
There we go.
I
did it.
You really, really, really... So what happens is Regina, like, really tries, like, get this, and Lump, you just get up and, like just, like, crack it with no problem. But what happens is...
I turn to Regina and I'm like, you loosened it.
Yeah, but the silver pieces fall away
loosened
to
it.
reveal a slightly smaller golden acorn. And now you hear, whoop, 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 but it sounds closer now, or louder.
So it's in the smaller acorn.
You would guess.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we pick up the silver pieces of acorn?
They're not made of silver. They're just silver colored.
Are they silver colored expensive material?
No, they're silver colored acorn material, although perhaps a collector would love to find a massive acorn. But yeah.
We need some brothers, sister.
Life is full of disappointment.
Shall
I try opening the golden colored acorn.
You're like,
12.
hurt. And my Lump again.
I'll just take that. I'll take that extra light fate. I'm 100% not going to use. That's 5. I'm up to 5 light fate
Oh
now.
my god. And so once again, Regina's like, I could have done that. And Lump just cracks it. And inside is this tiny little, very, very tiny, very small, and apparently very happy now, dog. Yip, 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 yip. and it like literally like yips and like jumps up and down. It is arguably, I'm trying to think of how big Regina is comparatively. It's very small. And yip, 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 and slight little jumps. Yip, 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 as it's jumping around, and so on.
Can we keep him?
You can keep him.
You think of her.
Good.
Think it's a believe.
Can we keep her?
Yes.
A tiny dog. So let me get this right. Is this like a normal dog that has been shrunk, or like a Chihuahua? Like, are we talking like a tiny breed of dog, or
It
like a
seems
Great
more-
Dane the size of a thimble?
No, well, no. It seems more like it's in the kind of, Shih Tzu, Chihuahua, like type of small dog range. Although it does look like, oddly, an adult dog that is very small, like a very small adult dog. But it's not a Great Dane. It's not like something like that. You do notice that it has a
transform back.
pink ribbon at the top of its fur.
I extend my hand to see if the dog will sit in my hand.
Yep. Sits in the hand.
Excellent. I'll stand up and address the others.
Person.
Yeah.
Need transform.
No,
Dogs are
I
people.
like. Yeah, come on. I like them better as a dog. Can we? I've never had a dog. Lump, you never let me have a dog.
You already have 2 humans. You don't need a third one.
Never asked for a dog. Could be
I'm
trapped human.
asking now.
We take the
Lump.
talisman back, the dog will get turned back.
Yeah, let's wait until
Yeah.
we got the talisman back, and bring the little dog with us. And then, as long as we bring the dog with us, we'll see them transform back into whatever it is afterwards.
We'd use the fluid every time we came across someone. We'd have none by now.
Okay.
It curls
But-
up and goes to sleep in your hand,
but-
Lump.
And he looks directly at Weddle.
You have to clean it and walk it and feed it.
And he hands the dog to Weddle.
It stirs slightly but doesn't wake up.
This is the single best day of Weddle's life.
You can see its little paws jerking like it's dreaming.
I'm not walking it.
And then under its breath, it dreamed barks.
Alright. Let's get going.
Quick question: the gold acorn, was that gold or gold colored?
It was unfortunately also gold colored. I am sorry to say. It wasn't gold
Fine.
painted. It's just like gold, also high
No,
caliber.
it just wasn't. It wasn't gold.
That's right.
Regina takes a look from the side to Reginald to see if the dog makes him sad.
No, it's not Boots.
It's not dead.
Yeah, well, that's the reason it could make him sad,
This dog is alive. I'm so depressed. At least I'm not the one that said, "Oh, there's no air holes. That won't be a problem for much longer."
Jesus.
Yep, there's no going back on that.
Darkest. That's so dark.
I did not cause the
We just-
situation. I will
we just
blame
have to
somebody
wait
else.
Until the bubbles stop, then it'll be fine. It's not our problem anymore.
Regina
so-
blames somebody else.
So I've gained a human, and Weddle's gained a puppy.
And as you're all,
Regina's
and
gained
I
a
got nothing.
reputation.
And Regina's gained darkness.
and as you're looking
Dark
down at
stain
this
has
sweet
fallen
little
upon the
puppy
heart.
occurring to this darkness, you hear from behind you and
Great.
coming over the hill, running at all of you, is this thing. But that is for another session. As we bring our session to a close, you will have this thing to deal with. But there's not all bad news, because you have now a tiny little dog, which may or may not be trapped. And you also have a man who would rather be a mule. So I'd say it's been a very productive session, and you've almost reached where the Redeemers might actually be. what a fun session this was for me. I was loving the just people being like, did we go through a mushroom was this an opium thing? What actually happened? And that was great, and I can't wait to see what happens when you, as you almost have, catch up with the Redeemers, and when you get a chance to deal with this creature. So it's going to be great. We're going to see what happens. I will start at the bottom and then work my way back up. Now, Bruce, that you have a tiny little dog-ish human dog, maybe, of your very own. Now I feel like Weddle may be all they need. You have a Kruth and you have a mini dog. How did you feel about today's session? I should also say that Weddle had, I think, some excellent ideas about when to use what in the course of this, even though, as we said, it was like an emotional support minstrel. But Weddle will have much more to do, obviously, in the sessions going forward, but still had a lot of good suggestions and ideas that came through, which may have to be considered in terms of finding creatures like this. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Yeah, this was really fun. Yeah, I don't mind playing Weddle as the emotional support minstrel who, directs people to lump the actual emotional support of the group. Yeah, no, that was really fun. Just really happy to have a little dog. Got dogs in real life. I think it's only natural that any character I play should have dogs. Yeah, no, that was really fun. And I guess because I've got internet now, I will start looking at when and how I'll start streaming and things. The only thing I've got solidly in my calendar is an insane 30-hour charity gaming stream for my 30th birthday on the 30th of March.
Nice.
So that'll be raising money for the Greyhound Rescue, where I got my second Greyhound from.
Nice. That's awesome.
On the theme of dogs. And I'll probably have some practice streams going up before then, working out how to stream my iPad to my computer so I can draw. But we'll see. Yeah.
Nice. That's going to be awesome. Thank you, Bruce. Good stuff. And yeah, I'm excited to hear more about that stuff as time goes on. What? Oh, it is my child, my eldest. Thank you, my child. But thank you, Bruce. Good stuff. Yeah, and I'm excited to hear more about that charity stream. That sounds like very good cause all the way around. And good stuff tonight. And I will see you for more Talisman next month. Moving right on up the line. Mike, great stuff as always from Lump. I did like the idea, like you had this very serious conversation with, man that was mule that was man, and then you had the situation of like, I feel like Lump is always kind of the slow but steady conscience of the group, where Lump is like, could be a human. Like everyone's like, yes, it could really be a human, or maybe not. But then also having to deal with just this manifest weirdness of everything that's going on with this situation. And Lump is kind of like, well, so at the end it was this the parental discussion was very funny to me of just being like, you have to walk it and you have to clean it. It was very funny. And did not have, and my favorite part, honestly, of the session, just from a humor point of view, was Regina trying to crack the nut and every time Lump just smashing it to bits. Oh God, it was the best. I was just like, because I just had this visual of Regina covered in acorn leftovers being like just really, really upset. Like, just I could have done that. I was a second away. I cracked it. How did you feel about today's session, Mike? Where will the fine folks find you next?
I absolutely adored it. I've missed this over the Christmas break, and I can't wait to play again. Obviously, we're playing D&D next week, Ghost of Saltmarsh, but yeah, really looking forward to. Well, I'm mostly looking forward to the next Talisman session because we have a giant polar bear lump thing,
Yeti troll thing.
So yeah, Yeti troll. So yeah, we'll see about that. But I honestly really loved it. I thought I'd try and broaden out Lump's kind of vocabulary a little bit to try and get through to people. And I like the fact that I was trying to give this sort of like deep and meaningful speech to this random human who wanted to be a mule, and he's like, yeah, but I still want to be a mule. And Lump's just like, okay, cool, you do you.
It's like, no, that speech is supposed to convince you can be anything you want.
You're he's just like, but like most people would just be like, I bared my soul and my heart and my history and my trauma. And Lump's just like, All right, well, we'll find you a wizard.
Sounds like a plan, yeah.
Yep, sounds like a plan. I tried. But yeah, if you want to find myself, you can find me at twitch.tv/peripheral Mike. I'm not on any social media, which is still going fantastic, to be honest with you. But if you do want to join the Discord, I shall drop a link in chat soon for that, because there's been loads of chat about videos recently. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some ideas together for some videos coming up. There's going to be a Q&A session going up on my YouTube channel. You can find all the links. I'll drop some links into chat, and there's also going to be a playthrough of a new horror game as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Good stuff. Thank you, Mike. Always a pleasure, and I will speak to you soon. Again, you'll see more of Mike's handiwork video-wise after this one, and at the end of the month with some new things coming up. So you will see more of Mike's work there, and we'll see Mike back here next week, of course, for D&D GG goes to Saltmarsh. Also, thank you to Neptune Blue for following GOG.com. Thank you, Mike. Always a pleasure. Moving right on up. Saber, again, good stuff from Reginald as well. I mean, I love the idea that, you know, Ghoul speaking with Ghoul, but the caretaker, I mean, was giving you information about, like, this could be serious, that then there will just be dead everywhere, and sort of like figuring Reginald will understand the implications of this more than anyone else theoretically might. And there was also a kind of practical level, which is that you're like, listen, we only have so much embalming fluid, and like, we can't just, you know, change everyone back, but we kind of need to, but that means we have to catch the Redeemers. So there's very much a resource management level that I think Reginald was thinking about going through this. And also, as the Watcher was able to help when the guide was finding stuff, the Watcher was able to help sort of track down and spot you know, different enemies. Otherwise, you would have been in a fight with this thing earlier. You got unlucky that it tracked your scent, but you would have been fighting that thing earlier had you not seen it ahead of time. So there was that too, and you know, all the craziness that ensued later on. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
This was very, very fun, with Lump gradually turning into a Disney princess. And just and the thing, like you say, well, what if the graveyard becomes the only nice place, and then
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
outside the graveyard becomes like the graveyard?
They're all
It's
like, that's not good. We don't want that. Yeah. It's like,
yeah, with all the zombies pouring out of the nice place into everywhere else. And yeah, just very, very, very funny. Just the whole squirrel sequence. As soon as you said it's a giant squirrel holding a giant silver acorn, and my brain's just like, this is going to be good.
Squirrel the size of a bear. Okay, that sounds good.
To be very funny, which it was. Yep. And like I say, currently having to tell, well, yeah, but look, if we use the fluid on every person we think isn't that form normally, we're gonna run out.
Yep. I kind of wish you had been able to done it, that it was actually just a living giant squirrel, and be like, are you kidding me? Like
that would have been great.
That would have been
That
kind of
actually
funny,
would have
but
been
only
great.
would have been funny for 5 seconds and then would have burned me. But it would have been funny for a moment.
But yeah, just trying to convince everyone, like, yes, I know they're not supposed to be in this form, but if we put everything back to normal, it should fix itself. Also, very keenly aware that I may well end up as something that gets turned into a cat at some point.
Yes.
The closer we get, the more that risk seems to be going up as we follow the trail of destruction. So be interesting to see what happens next with this encounter, especially with the giant polar lump bearing down on us now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's quite a cliffhanger. But we'll have to see when we see. But I say next week I'll be here for. Is it next week? Isn't it? Yes.
Next week. Yep.
Goes to Saltmarsh. Yep. Freshly level 4 and moving forward with the Alliance, I guess, or stopping people trying to undermine the Alliance. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you got to go back and convince the people of Saltmarsh that this is a good idea.
Yeah.
So yeah.
As for me, I'll be back here tomorrow. I'm going to be having a look at Inscription, which I have not played or seen much of, but I keep hearing stuff about that makes me go, sounds kind of interesting. So I'm going to be having a look at that tomorrow. Thursday, I'm going to be checking out a Minecraft server a member of my community's put together for me to have a look at with a whole bunch of random mods. So I don't know what I'm getting there, but we've been talking about setting up a server to try for a while, so we're going to be doing that. Friday's going to be Fallout 2. Saturday's going to be Deep Rock Galactic with the community. So yeah, I've got a pretty full week schedule-wise, and you can catch me here tomorrow and my channel every other day.
Good stuff. And you should check out Saber. He's a good streamer. And Inscription should be fun. I'll be interested to see. I've seen a little bit of that being played, and you might find it interesting. So, but either way, that'll be good stuff. Thank you. And again, thank you for Dashboard and Moobot as always. Moving right out the line, last but certainly not least, Pyron, great stuff from Regina. Again, the visual of Regina trying to crack the nut followed by lump just was just absolute chef's kiss. Like, so good. But in addition, Regina's, I loved the reaction that people had, like, first of all, as a grave robber, and you're like, but this is not grave robbing. But then, like, the dog inside the thing, and that was the immediate moment everyone's like, wow, that's really dark. I can't believe that you would. It was really funny because, like, anytime anything gets done to any animal at all, you can, like, slaughter people in, like, the hundreds in fiction. But if you touch a puppy, everyone's like, how dare you? Like, it was very funny to me. So Regina, we saw the darker side of Regina apparently as we went through. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
I didn't even mean it that dark.
No, I know.
I was seriously like pointing out, like, we need to trade for this acorn because if there's a dog in there, that like, this is gonna end badly. But it came out in a way where maybe Regina would actually say it. So yeah. And can I just say that I love this adventure? And once we've completed it, I'm so gonna buy this because I'm sure I'm gonna find some time or some place to DM this because I really like this so far. Yeah, it's I like fun. The atmosphere. I like with the big necropolis sepulcher and all of this. So yeah, I really like this adventure. So I'm very happy. And yeah, I think next week on Tuesday for D&D. Where, leveling up Waves Crashing against Rocks, who's already kind of a stat monster, and now I get to put in 2 more ability points. It's going to be fun, I think. I mean, feats are usually more fun, but I think in this case it's going to be ability points. And then we're gonna roll our new life points on stream, right?
Yes, that's right. Because you're leveled up to level 5? Four. Because that's right. Yes, that's right. Too many campaigns. Yes, level 4. So yes, you'll be able to do that on stream. But you will move up to level 4. The power of level 4.
Yes.
So it's going to be great. I'm excited for that. And you said you have a stream appearance coming up at some point, or no? Besides
nope,
here.
Currently not. I don't have Deep Rock Galactic. So I don't think I'm going to join in this Saturday, but I might watch it. Ebenezer was watching it, fascinated, and was like, maybe we should buy this game. This looks really fun. So we're going to see. And so I'm just really happy with the session today because the weirdness of this adventure is just wonderful. So I'm just...
Yeah. I really
You're all
enjoyed
wonderful
it
as well.
I thought, yes, they are all, all of you are wonderful. I can double that, and thank you, Pyron. Yeah, I will say that one of the things I've really loved about all the adventures of this, as I've tried to shape them together into a campaign, is that if you have any familiarity with the board game at all, it feels to me like it's just Easter egg after Easter egg after Easter egg. Like there's all this stuff that fits perfectly with knowledge of the board game, but obviously you don't need to have done any of that. You can just, it just functions on its own, but it just is so fun to see all of the little talisman stuff coming up and all these references. So I've enjoyed it a lot too, and Pegasus Spiele deserves credit for that. So also, of course, the players deserve the most credit for being amazing and awesome. So I will bid goodbye to them and close up shop. Chat, can we get some love for the amazing Pyron Jade, Darksaber 2K, Peripheral Mike, and Undeveloped Bruce? We'll see 3 of those folks next week. Undeveloped Bruce we'll see back here next month, but they are all lovely and wonderful people. And players, thank you. Great work tonight. I will see you folks, some of you next week and the rest of you next month. Bye for now.
Bye.
See you later. Take care, everyone.
And that is going to do it for us for today. Really enjoyed that so much. Again, I do like this system quite a bit. But again, the thing that really stands out to me the most is just how well it handles these things within Talisman. And I'm like, how it does it in a role-playing sense where it doesn't feel like you're just shoehorning it in, but it's like, the idea of a wizard that's this powerful that just left talismans all over the place. There's like bad talismans, right? There's good talismans, there's bad talismans, there's all different kinds. And then figuring out how to deal with all of that. And it is like kind of a challenge too, to sort of figure out how this is all going to work out together. But we will see how they figure things out. And I think chat probably started to get a feel for what exactly is causing all these changes and all this stuff. So we will talk more about that. You'll see more of that as the adventure progresses. But it was a lot of fun today. As for me, I will be back on Friday on my own channel playing more of Inkle's Sorcery 4, which is the Crown of Kings, best game book ever made. Inkle did a wonderful job with this, although I wish that Inkle would bring stuff to GOG. But regardless, anyway, I'll be doing that on my channel, so you should definitely stop by. Chat makes the decisions for those. That's Friday night. Saturday, I'll be back on my channel with more Eberron as we continue Season 3 of Eberron, Oracle of War. Season 3 is called Dogs of War, and Part 1 is called Parliament of Gears. So that's the one that we're playing through right now, and that has a video courtesy of Peripheral Mike, so you can check that out Saturday. Then we'll do Sunday is also the wrapping up of a Speculate campaign, and so on. But my point is, lots of tabletop stuff going on my channel, and then I'll be right back here next Tuesday, again at 4:15 p.m. Eastern for D&D with GOG Ghosts of Saltmarsh. I believe that the next person up after me is going to be Flayo. No, it's going to be not today. So it's going to be Darksaber 2K, who will be checking out Inscription. So that's going to be it for today, but we will be back again tomorrow with Darksaber and Inscription. And then, as I say, back on my own channel on Friday, and right back here at 4:15 p.m. Eastern next week for D&D with GOG Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Thanks again to Pegasus Spiele for sponsoring the Talisman Adventures campaign. Thank you to all the wonderful players, to Pyron, Darksaber, Peripheral Mike, and Undeveloped Bruce. And thank you for all of you for being awesome folks. Please spread the word about the show. Make sure to follow us here on GOG.com. Please subscribe to us here on GOG.com and click through and check out our own individual channels, because we have our own subsystems and Patreons and stuff like that as well. That's it for me. Much love to all of you folks, and I will see you soon. Until next time, everyone, please be good to each other. Bye for now.